the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the virtual Spa-Francorchamps circuit for round 6 of the 2020 Karts to Computers iRacing Series, Season 1. Well, first of all, I'm very excited for tonight's race, just to start off. I know a few of our races in the past, especially the ones at road courses, have been, well, they've either been very difficult, like Laguna Seca, which has led to a lot of pack dispersal, or they've been very, maybe not simple, but they've been more toned down than some others, and maybe a little bit less difficult, like last week at Okayama. This week's track I am very excited for, and as Justin already mentioned in our YouTube chat, this is one that all the drivers have been really excited for all week, is Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, the Belgian Grand Prix of for any F1 fans out there. So I'm really excited for tonight's race, and I'm also excited because tonight's broadcast, I'm happy to say, will probably be our most technically advanced one yet. First of all, as any of you on mobile will notice, and I think desktop as well, you now have the option to change the setting for tonight's race to 1080p in your browser, because tonight we will be streaming completely in HD, hopefully. So everything kind of got an overhaul, so it should look much more crisp. My audio should be a little bit better. And yeah, overall, I'm looking forward to tonight's race from a racing perspective, and I'm looking forward to it technically. So remember, throw it in 1080p if you can support it on your device, and watch tonight's broadcast in crystal clear HD. So, well, first of all, let's just get started before we head to our race recap for last race on Thursday at Okayama in the MX-5. Let's first look at our point standings. So, at the moment, these are the current total point standings. Now, remember, this does not take into account the drop race we have for every driver, where your worst finishing position from the first 9 races will be cut. So, every driver will only be scored for 9 total races. So, this just takes into account total points overall. And the first thing that must stand out to any of you that maybe haven't watched our series so far is that our points leader, Logan Paxa, has a pretty commanding lead over the series at the moment. 48 points ahead of Michael Krobach in second, and 72 ahead of Samuel McEachern in third. So that is a pretty dominant start to the season, if I do say so myself. So in the front half, he's kind of the guy to beat as we go forward. As you can see, there are 3 poles, 3 wins, hasn't finished outside the top 5 yet. So, well, on the podium even. I think he has 5 straight podiums. So, well, tonight he's been quick in practice, so there's a chance that streak won't go away. But after that, you can see the rest of the drivers in tonight's field. Important to note, it looks like 2 very solid championship contenders, Samuel McEachern and Rene Hart, will not be in tonight's race. So that'll definitely play big into their season points, and hopefully they have leftover drop races to make up for it. But, well, as our drivers are just about to head into qualifying, this is the earliest a broadcast for us has ever started. I have a little bit more to do before the race this time, so I said, hey, you know what? Why not? We'll start a little early and get all that out of the way. So, well, first of all, as we always do, we will move on to our race recap for round 5 at Okayama. And in Okayama, let me just fix that there. And in Okayama, this was your starting grid. Logan Paxa and Michael Krobach very close in qualifying, but Paxa getting his 3rd pole of the season. You see here our field for the night as they come out of that final corner there. It was a pretty bunched up close race to begin the night, but unfortunate incident here for Devin Crosby, and I believe the 4th corner as he's coming into here, and he just has Brian Ellis underneath him in 4, just kind of slide up a little bit and then give him another tap on his way by. So unfortunate start to the race from Devin. Other drivers managed to avoid him, but unfortunately somebody was not able to avoid this crash. That's Marshall Crocker Sr., my dad. He just kind of got into Marco Felice. You see here what incident caused that spin for Marco in the first place. He also got into Justin Lewick in that crash, I believe. 2 very similar looking Red Bull cars, but I believe I have the right one. You see here, though, Marco Felice, after that incident, he was going back up through the field. You see him passing Jordan West here, and he finished in 7th. So managed to recover well from that unfortunate incident. Now you see what became the pass that, well, ended up winning Rene Hart the race here. You see he goes on the inside of Michael Krobach down this long straightaway into the double hairpin section. Now you see these two important pit stops for Logan Paxton. This first one on lap 19 and the second one on lap 42, and he was actually the only one in the top three to ever need to pit twice. So you see here in that second pit stop, you see Rene Hart going by him. That unfortunate pit strategy cost him the race, but Rene Hart would get his first win of the season and become your third winner in the 2020 Karts to Computers Iverson Series. So congrats to Rene. Michael Krobach and Logan Paxton rounded out the field. You see him doing that half victory donut there into the grass, and well, you will see the final standings for that race. As I mentioned, Marco Felice made a great comeback. Justin Lulick as well ended up having a really solid finish. So, well, overall, it was a very entertaining race indeed. And, well, I must say, as we look forward to tonight's race, yet another permanent oval, or not permanent oval, permanent road course tonight in the Skip Barber Series instead of the MX-5. So, the MX-5 is a little bit more of a predictable, maybe not, I'd say it's a little bit slower generally, but it's a little bit less of a driver's car. It's kind of simple, and it doesn't allow for a lot of parity. But tonight, we go to a track that is not only very long and difficult, as Spa-Francorchamps is, but we come to it in the Skip Barber, which is probably the most fun car I've ever run in iRacing, at least in the road discipline. And it kind of runs like a kart, as I mentioned when we ran it at the Roval. So our second time running it this year, our Roval race was, at least in my opinion, our most interesting road course race of the year. So I'm looking forward to hopefully a similar result here tonight at Spa-Francorchamps. So quickly, we are just about to do a track lap on board with, with Mr. Justin Lulick. So it should be a good experience to watch. It's a very long lap. It's almost 3 minutes, but I'll walk you through the whole thing. And it's a beautiful track in real life, and it's just as beautiful in iRacing. Or, well, maybe the trees with their textures, as you can see, maybe not the most perfectly real experience. So if you ever get the chance to go to Belgium, be sure to stop by one of the world's most famous circuits, and one of my favorite, absolutely. But yeah, let's just quickly, as a bit of a feature that we don't normally do, let me just give you a quick map of the real track. So as you can see here, this is a full map of the entire Spa-Francorchamps circuit. I believe it is roughly about 3.5 miles. It's a very, very long track, hence why it's about 3 minutes. The most famous corner you'll see there is the one outlined with a blue dotted line in the circle there. That is corner 3, 4, and 5. That is known as Eau Rouge. Possibly one of the most famous corners in the entire world. I would say it's probably the second toughest corner of the whole season, besides maybe the Laguna Seca corkscrew from earlier in the year. So then the famous Kemmel Straight, a very, very long straight in the Skip Barbers. And considering the Skip Barber is a car that is able to slipstream quite well, that may be a straightaway where you could have 2 or 3 slipstream passes just back and forth with how long it is. So overall, it's a 3-sector track. It's a lot of fun. And, well, now we will get a quick ride along of it with Mr. Justin Lulick. And we come with Mr. Lulick out of that final corner as he gets ready to run his flying lap. This was pre-recorded earlier in practice, but well, Justin seemed pretty proud of it. And I know Justin was putting in some good practice efforts, so he should be a very quick driver tonight. But you see we come out of that tight first corner here, down the hill. This hill, as you come around this long sweeper, where the pit lane for a number of, whether it be sport car or endurance race series, run out of. But well, you see he's going to come up here to the famous Eau Rouge, this long sweeping hill. Much more subtle of a incline than, well, it's a decline at the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, but here it's a very sloping incline, but very difficult, and it's a blind hill, as you can see there. So, well, he comes down the Kemmel Straight, and as I mentioned, this will be an absolutely huge spot for slipstreaming tonight. I mean, you should expect to see, as I mentioned, maybe 3 or 4 passes in every single straightaway between the same 2 drivers, just because of how long and, well, a little bit tedious it can be for the drivers, but you have all that time to prepare for your entry into this 1-2 chicane here. You come out onto this left-hander. I'm trying to remember the name of these corners, but any of them that aren't super famous, unfortunately, most race fans don't know the name at all. So, well, you come down this hill into another difficult blind corner. Spa is full of them. You don't really get good sight lines into any corner with track blockages ahead, whether they be cars or debris. So come down this long sweeping corner here. It's all declines really from this section. It's a long downhill kind of bobsled style trip down the track. And you see there that back end drift he got there. These Skip Barbers are so similar to a kart in the way that they get the wheel spin in the back. So I find them fascinating. And here I'm really excited to see how they run. I didn't get much chance to practice here, unfortunately, but another famous corner, you get this very long, difficult kind of two-part sweeping corner here down the hill. It's kind of 2 square corners like at Indianapolis, so it's not a perfect sloping corner by any means. Then you come here into another chicane. Spa is it's full of them. I believe there's three or probably four on the entire track. But come back into this left-hander. You're going to head into the final main straightaway of the entire track. So you take the right-hander here, which is surprisingly difficult. It's actually easy if you mess up the entry here to on older tires get into that green patch onto the left, and well, that is cause for a penalty point if you do hit it. So always best, as usual, to try to avoid it at all costs. But when we come to this final, very long straightaway down, well, it's kind of got two corners in itself, but well, you don't really think of it as anything other than a straightaway just because of how long and how sloping the corners are. But another good spot for passing, if guys are able to get underneath and make good entries into this corner, particularly right here, then well, that can be an absolutely crucial way that you could pass people coming up to this final chicane, which isn't really a passing zone, but it is where our pit entrance is for the night. So there are two different pit entrances, as I mentioned before. There's the one for endurance racing, and there's the one for the F1 track. So you see on the right there, they would just take us straight up through the chicane, but instead he will take the hard left and finish the lap. So, well, that is a lap of tonight's track at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. So, well, as we have all that out of the way, I'm glad I finally got all my pre-race stuff done for once, but what else do we have to go through? Quickly, now that we got our point standings out of the way, we will see if we can throw up our qualifying results so far. So, it is important to mention with how long the lap is here at Spa-Francorchamps, it's actually, like I mentioned, about a 3-minute lap, where if you have to do your out lap in qualifying and then run 2 laps, you won't run all of your lap times until, goodness, I mean, probably like minute 8 of the entire session. So, well, we'll throw up the standings here, and they shouldn't be too great in terms of giving you information until quite a few drivers have run their multiple laps. And with how long of a track it is, it's super easy to make little mistakes. So you see an absolute barn burner of a time there by Logan Pax at 2:51.717. That's 2 and 3 seconds ahead of anybody else who's run so far. So it would appear Devin Crosby, Michael Krobach, and Frankie Esposito, they may have made mistakes on their first lap, or if it's just a case of their line not being quite up to that of our championship leader so far, Logan Paxa, then well, they got a little bit of improvement on that second lap. But we do have, let me check on the official number. I believe we have 13 drivers in tonight's field. So, unfortunately, a few of our drivers, as I mentioned, Samuel McEachern won't be here. Renee Hart, I believe, won't make it out for tonight's race. As well as Arnel Tabang, who left the series last week. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say last week, on Thursday. So those three won't be here. And then Matt Clark, I was unable to get a hold of, so he won't be in tonight's race either. So, hopefully going forward this season, a few of those guys start returning, and well, it's an unfortunate situation in the points where so many guys keep missing races, but well, hopefully in season 2 we'll get a little bit more of a consistent field for all of you, and well, hopefully some better attendance will make the championship fight even closer. But I mean, I was talking about earlier about Logan Paxton, and he has just been an absolute force all season. If he were able to hold what he's got here, this would be his fourth pole of the season, I should say. If he was able to make it on the podium, he would be perfect for the season. He'd go 6 for 6 in terms of podiums. He has 3 wins so far, so he has won. Has he? No, yes, he has won 3 races. So he has 3 so far. Josh Gallagher won the very first race of the season at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then the final of our 3 winners was on Thursday's race at Okayama. So Renee Hart getting kind of the upset win, really, for what he considered his own background at really any road course, but specifically Okayama. He just didn't seem to feel too confident in his experience there. But as I mentioned in his interview, like Samuel McEachern in our very first race of the season, it's not always about your confidence going in. I mean, you'd think it would be, but sometimes if you just have enough practice, and even if you aren't running the quickest laps in practice or qualifying, well, sometimes you just have the endurance and the pure race pace and understanding of tire wear and fuel wear that, well, it could be what gets you the win in the end. And at least on Thursday's race, that was the case for Renee Hart. As well, fuel wear, or I shouldn't say fuel wear. Sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Fuel conservation. That's it. Fuel conservation was kind of what got him the win there. He just stayed out longer than anybody else, except for Michael Krobach, who, as I showed in the race recap, he already managed to pass at that point. So, congrats to Renee Hart. Congrats to all our winners this season, and there's a few more guys to finish their first qualifying laps. Actually, Jordan West and Marco Felice managed to break that 2-second barrier. Michael Krobach improves the second time by massively. Maybe we'll throw up their lap times here as they run them. There we go. That looks a little bit more polished there. So let's see if we can... Actually, I have a qualifying graphic that I've never used. Let's see if that'll... No, unfortunately, it doesn't look like the track is short enough to use it, but hopefully I can add that in next week. Trying to make as many improvements as I can by the end of the season, so that next season it's even more improved. And any way I can improve the broadcast for the Carts to Computers Iverson series, I absolutely will. So any suggestions from anybody who's either tech oriented or just has an appreciation for these broadcasts, feel free to let me know, because I'm always happy to make improvements and do whatever I can to up the quality of these for you guys, because I'm glad that you guys are having a good time watching them, and I'm having an amazing time broadcasting them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight's race. And you can see, well, the shot decided to change on me, but I'm trying to look at kind of scenic shots of the track here. Don't mind Spa-Francorchamps 2010. They keep updating the track model, and it's I believe it's the most current version of the track they've scanned, but they apparently don't want to update their assets in the background. So, well, as we come to the end of qualifying, we are now ready to grid for tonight's race, and well, it is time to get that graphic down because we now have our official qualifying results. So let's throw those up there for you. And your pole sitter for tonight, for the 4th time this season, he's gone 4 for 6. I mean, an incredible display this season by Logan Paxa. He is your pole sitter. Sorry, actually, he might be perhaps a 5-time pole sitter. I don't quite have my chart up right now, but Logan Paxa, regardless, he is your pole sitter for tonight. Behind him, Jordan West and Michael Krobach, rounding out the top 3 qualifiers. Came very close between the two of them. Just over a 10th back was Michael Krobach from Jordan West. So Paxton and West will be on the front row. Then Michael Krobach and Devin Crosby, the 2 Lad Pedal Motorsports teammates, in 3rd and 4th. Justin Luke and Marco Felice, who I know each other very well, so hopefully no bad blood between them in the race, in 5th and 6th on the 3rd row. And then in the 4th row, Brian Ellis alongside Frankie Esposito, Rich Foligno and Logan Ferguson in the 5th row, rounding out the top 10. Josh Gallagher and Marshall Crocker Sr. will presumably be 10th and 11th, and then John Garrett rounding out in 12th. Don't mind me. I am, once again, not in tonight's race. Sorry, I may have missed somebody there. Sorry, it's Logan Ferguson, Josh Gallagher, and then Marshall Crocker Sr. and John Garrett will round out the field in row 7. And again, I will not be in the race, so every race I hope that I'll be able to remove myself from this graphic, and well, every race not to be, unfortunately. So well, let's get that out of there, and we will get ready for tonight's race. Let me just get all of our stuff put up there. There we go. We will remove that for the time being. Okay. Well, we are ready to go racing whenever we get the run off of this straightaway, which is where we will be starting for a rolling start tonight. Maybe I'll put it in a little bit of a different view just so you can see more of your field. There you go. Ooh, we can even do... There we go. We are ready and going with new camera angles tonight. As I said, I want to keep this thing as professional and well put together as I can. So you see your 13 driver field. Again, I am grayed out on the timing graphic, and as such, please treat it as such. So, well, we are getting ready to go here. You see on, I believe that's Logan Pax on the inside. It is important to note you see many identical white and red cars. Lots of the guys that come from a background in karting from the same Prime Power team, they all have the same identical Prime Power team livery, which, well, it's kind of good to get team branding out there. It does make it difficult to do my job, so, well, as they hide behind the trees on me here, I guess I'll need to find a little bit closer of a camera, but yeah, looking forward to tonight's race. You see even on the front row, and I think 3rd position is a different car, but well, that'll be a little bit difficult, but I'll try to do my very best to give you insight into who is who as we get ready to go green here. We come through the final chicane on the track, but I believe we've agreed that Logan Paxa will go when he is solidly about 2 or 3 seconds onto the straightaway, or maybe he'll gas it out of the chicane. He will, so Logan Paxa is ready to go. Michael Krobach will get a great jump off the start. Already past Jordan West. That outside line seemed to be the one with the advantage there as we get started. A few of the other cars lagging back there. I guess they just started a little bit too far back in the chicane, but Logan Paxa will take that first corner right-hander down corner 1 with Michael Krobach, Jordan West, Devin Crosby behind him. Let's check the battle back there because we may have a little bit of a melee forming between a few drivers. There's going 3 wide there. That's Brian Ellis, and I believe he's falling in behind Logan Ferguson. So Ferguson with Ellis sandwiched between himself and Frankie Esposito, the 2 teammates. Ferguson already up from 10th. Must just be that outside the line like I talked about that started out really strong. So, well, you see Ferguson with Ellis behind him, then Esposito, and then it's a big drop back to Rich Foligno with Marshall Crocker, Josh Gallagher, and Jean Guerra rounding out your drivers in tonight's field. Let's head back up to the front a little bit. Oh, we see a 2 wide go into, oh man, I'm trying to remember. I believe it's corner 6. So that first half of the chicane, they're going to make contact. Tire damage there. Will they manage to make it through the corner? I believe they will, but Brian Ellis and Logan Ferguson getting together. Let's see if Ferguson stays on the pace. Doesn't look like he's too far off of the normal racing speed, so well, hopefully he'll be okay for the rest of tonight's race. Brian Ellis, like I mentioned, making contact there, but he did manage to successfully make the pass, so the top 8, I believe, will reform their positions. Jordan West did manage to make it back past Michael Krobach, so your top 3 will reform itself. I assume no doubt on the long Kemmel Straight there, because that's where, well, most of the passes are going to be made tonight if you can stay in the slipstream. It's important also to mention this very difficult corner. I mentioned it in our pre-race track lap, but well, in a racing scheme, it's even harder because you're trying to follow in behind the guy behind you and stay on their draft. But if they happen to make a mistake, which are very frequent in that corner, well, that could lead to some chaos behind. But speaking of chaos behind, Devin Crosby has Justin Lilick breathing down the back of his neck, trying to follow into this first half of the chicane. And, well, he's staying in his slipstream, but he doesn't seem to be immediately catching him. But that is our closest on-track battle right now. Marco Felice and Brian Ellis. Ellis once again sandwiched in between 2 Prime Power Team cars, those red and white liveries. Now it's between Marco Felice and Frankie Esposito as opposed to Logan Ferguson from a moment ago. Still important to mention that Ferguson did gain a position from the start of tonight's race, so trying to look around the field. So we see Josh Gallagher there, Jean Guerra in the background. Those 2 currently rounding out the field, but again, it's a long race and a long track, so well, we're in minute 2.5 of the race, and we haven't even finished lap 1, ladies and gentlemen, so only a 30-lap race tonight, but that should tell you just how long our track is. Quite impressively, actually, Jordan West is still managing to catch up to Pax. I know we had the slipstream in that straightaway. Oh, he's going to walk up hard. You see Jordan West just came in a little bit too hot into that corner with Michael Krobach now breathing down his neck. He lost about 7/10 there. So, well, unfortunately, all that speed, if you don't quite handle it right coming into the next corner you take, well, that can happen again. You'll see the slide out lap times there just to give you a quick idea of how quick guys ran on that first lap. So, Logan Paxa, very quick and solid 2 minute and 54-second lap. After that, a few guys running in that late 3:0 range in terms of the lap times, and no doubt will those get quicker. The first lap is always slower just because you're trying to get up to speed out of that first chicane. So, well, we'll get a better idea of lap times momentarily, but, well, it's been a long time since we've put it up, and hopefully it does manage to work, but, well, we're going to use our battle box for that battle between 2nd and 5th at the moment. We do now have our driver name up, so all seems to be in order. You see that line starting to form. This is a fascinating driving style between these Skip Arbors at the longer straightaway tracks. Krobach's going to come up to block Crosby, his best buddy and his own teammate. So Krobach will go around the outside. Will he get the jump on West? He should. So Krobach will go by. Crosby makes a little bit of contact, but should make it out all clean. Now the question is, can he keep Crosby behind him? Krobach had a great run there on that Kemmel Straight, so Lewick is still in the draft as well. Let's not count him out in the Red Bull, kind of the dark blue and yellow car there. So Jordan West still with Crosby right on the back of him, and, well, coming in through a few difficult corners. So, well, we'll see if Crosby's going to kind of lag off and let West have his room and try to pass him on a longer straightaway coming up. But, well, if he doesn't, we may see an aggressive pass here. He's going to come real close, but West is going to slide out. There could be a chance Crosby's able to get under him. No, it doesn't look like it, but he might definitely get the better exit off this corner. So Michael Krobach has got a decent gap going. He's certainly hasn't broken away from that pack of 4. But speaking of breaking away, I mean, Logan Paxa, again, he got the jump on the start, and with all the chaos behind him, he is doing his very best to just scoot away and try not to worry about any of what's happening. So nice drift there. He actually used the grass to his advantage in that corner entry. So fascinating stuff there. But let's actually check back, as Brian Ellis and Frankie Esposito are also running pretty close on track. As I mentioned, Ellis has kind of been caught in a Prime Power Team sandwich the entire race, and, well, Frankie Esposito becomes his new challenger right behind him. Esposito and Ellis started on the same road together, so for the most part, everybody seems to have formed up kind of the same as where they started. I will just quickly put up where drivers have moved from the beginning of the race. So your biggest mover at the moment is my father, Marshall Crocker Sr., up 3 spots from started on the final position of the grid, and he's already moved his way up to 10th, so good trajectory there. He's actually not... Oh, sorry, he's a little bit far back of the other guys behind him, but I see that Josh Gallagher's coming into the pit. Oh, must have just kind of been a glitch with the graphic. I know Josh's internet connectivity is not always the most perfect, but Brian Ellis, was that a pass on one of the Prime Power Team guys, or is he still battling with Frankie Esposito? I believe he might be, so Esposito right behind him. Nothing really up front has changed. Actually, Devin Crosby did manage to get by Michael Krobach, so... Oh, and there's contact there. That's Jordan West that made contact with one of the drivers. I'll have to go to the replay and see how that happens. So, let me just take a brief moment, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be back with your replay in a second. And here you see Jordan West coming up. I believe that's, was that Marco Felice who was right behind him running in the third? No, it was Devin Crosby in the third position. So Crosby just kind of hooks around his back end coming out of the corner. And, well, luckily with the corner radius of how it was slanted, he was able to get right back up to speed and immediately. But, man, that was just, don't even know what to call that. It was just kind of late contact made there. And it looked like either Crosby kind of slid up a little bit in the slipstream and just wasn't able to slow down as he thought he would. Actually, Justin Lewick in the chaos. I don't know what's happened, but Lewick has made up 3 positions. I know he passed West a moment ago, but Lewick went from 5th to 2nd in half a lap. Impressive move by Justin Lewick. I don't believe he has a podium yet this year, so good showing from him early. He started 5th, which is one of his better qualifying positions all year, but now he's got Michael Krobach to his inside. Maybe trying to make something happen down there, and they'll go side by side through the sweeping corner. Lewick's going to go real wide here, and, well, no doubt going to let Krobach underneath for the time being, but that could change. Let's just throw it into a different camera. Let's see the chopper view. So you see just how close that 3-man pack of Lewick, Krobach, and Crosby is, but Lewick will get the position back from Krobach, and Crosby right behind him is, well, still right on the tail of Krobach, as has kind of been the case this entire race so far. Lewick, again, though, a very impressive move to be able to make it up to that 2nd position, and, well, I know Jordan West had the incident a moment ago, but, well, as far as I can tell, he's still not too far back. So, no, you see him right there behind Krobach. He's by no means, behind Crosby. He's still in Crosby's draft. So, by no means would I count Mr. Jordan West out of this yet. So, well, this has been a fascinating start to the race, or at least a fascinating battle here. Krobach will get him back on the inside. So, Michael Krobach will pass Justin Lewick. Lewick's still in the top 3, but what a move there by Krobach to get him back on the straightaway again. I mean, I can't really downplay at all the just how serious the slipstream is here. And, oh, we're going to see it again. Lewick's going to send it to the inside. He'll have to pull up real hard. He'll make it, actually, surprisingly well. Must have just kind of gotten the divot and where the corner apex is. But speaking of battles, Crosby with West right on his tail once again. West wants that position back, and he wants his 2nd place back from a moment ago. And then Marco Felice not too far behind them. What a battle we're seeing from the 2nd to, well, even 6th at this point positions, as you can see all of them on the battle tracker. But now as we come down the hill, somebody on the inside that was Crosby is going to get passed by West on the outside. West being the farmost of those 2 identical prime liveries. So, well, Krobach and Lewick are going to once again have a battle here. Let's throw on board with Justin Lewick and maybe show the view behind him just to get an idea of going up through Eau Rouge, this long upward incline, what he's got looking behind him. Krobach is no doubt going to send it to the outside, try to go side by side. Looks like he'll have enough of a run that he should be able to make a pretty solid setup for a pass here, as he should make it into the corner clean. You see behind him, we may have a pass with a position there. Felice will pass Crosby as well, so 3 prime guys in that top 5. What a successful start to the race for those guys, and, well, Lewick will maintain his position somehow with Krobach behind him. He's going to slide it way too hard, doesn't check up at all. He manages to check up in front of Krobach, which means on the outside, West may go around both of them. So Lewick went from, well, 5th to 2nd, and now West has done the exact same thing. What a block. I can't even keep track of who these guys are. That's Lewick there with Felice on the inside of Michael Krobach there on the outside. Now Krobach may have a pass happening from Crosby. What a battle once again. This may be, I would say, the pinnacle of battles we've had all season. This is so much fun to watch. Looking at Jordan West there trying to defend from Lewick once again. Felice not too far behind, so everybody's still in that draft. And while all this chaos is happening, Logan Pax is getting further and further away, but at the same time, Brian Ellis is starting to catch up as well. So we could see a 6-man battle here. You see as we go past that barrier there. I mean, Brian's having some technical issues in the background, but you can still see that he's not too far behind Devin Crosby at the tail of this 5-man field. So trying to keep track of other potential battles happening on screen, but at least on the timing tower. But man, this has been so exciting to watch. I don't really want to cut away from this. Lewick is going to make another mistake. He's going to go just a little bit too wide, but he stays on the track. So Marco Felice will make the pass there, which means we have an all-prime power team top 3 right now. The podium positions with Jordan West actually starting to run away with it. So Jordan is, I know he's a very quick guy, but Well, after he made that mistake earlier in corner one, I'm surprised he was able to go from 5th all the way back up to 2nd that quick, but well, we may have to throw it in chopper view again because I can't even see behind some of these walls with this battle developing once again. Justin Lewick is once again going to kind of slide up and with a little bit of a bobble on the outside. You see in the back of your screen, Crosby and Krobach going side by side. Maybe a pass happening here. Justin Lewick may try to get his 3rd position back from Felice. He will. He'll throw it in once again. He did it earlier and he did it again. Devin Crosby also makes the pass on Krobach. I can't even keep up with these passes right now. We're going to see once again, maybe if we can see another one. Let's just get a kind of broad view on this rather insane start to the race we've had so far at the beautiful Spa-Francorchamps. Let's throw to a different view here. We'll see as we come back into corner one where Jordan West has slip up earlier. Very good lap by Jordan West. You see those slide out lap times up there that are a little bit easier to display in this race because it's a much longer track. Justin Lewick with Marco Felice. Let's turn that up a little bit. I will be checking the chat also while we have a brief lull in this battle. I will be checking the chat, so if any of the audio levels are too awkward, just feel free to let me know. So if the cars are too loud or if they're too quiet, just give me a shout. But Justin Lewick is going to once again be under attack here from Marco Felice this time. Let's once again throw to our chopper view. It seems kind of the go-to right now with these battles, but Felice is going to go on the outside, and Crosby's in his draft, so Crosby could go with Felice if he's able, but Lewick on the inside doesn't look like he'll get a full tire length, will Felice. So Lewick will get back on the inside. The defense there, but Crosby's going to have to check up hard on Felice again. Crosby, it feels like every time he comes into that start of the chicane, the poor guy just gets absolutely run over by the car in front. So, well, man, absolutely incredible start to this race. And, wow, I can't think of too many races or even any race I've watched broadcast or not that I've enjoyed quite this much. So, well, the battle still remains to be seen if it'll develop once again. Now everybody kind of starts to spread out a little bit, but it's never usually until we get on those long straightaways that we see if there's going to be another move happening here. So for the time being, it settles out that Logan Paxa, Jordan West, and Justin Lewick will be your top 3, but well, seeing how this battle's developed so far, that could change any minute. And right now, Devin Crosby is catching up to Felice in this corner, and he may have a better run that he can shoot it up the inside if Felice doesn't defend well, but looks like he will definitely guard the inside there, so they're going to go too wide into the start of the chicane. Oh, never mind, but he might do the undercut. Felice just went a little bit too wide. Crosby almost capitalized there, but unfortunately was not quite able to. Going to slide out there, so I know that'll be a small penalty point for the wide collision, but there we go. Speaking of collision, they make contact there. Let's check on Marco Felice. A huge deal there as, well, Felice makes contact, but Brian Ellis and Michael Krobach both make it by, but well, the unfortunate benefactor of that incident was Devin Crosby. Oh, man, it's a shame to see because Devin was having such a solid race, and he looked like he was just setting up a pass on Felice as we had that happen. So, well, let me just do, once again, a brief replay, and I'll be right back momentarily with a quick clip of what just happened. Well, we come back to our replay here, and you see the two just got up side by side, and Crosby just a little bit. I wouldn't even say it was a case of it being an issue with Crosby. It looked like he was trying to hold his line. It was just Felice was defending really hard, and well, the two kind of went for the same piece of track there as they locked tires, and you see just how long it took Crosby to manage to get back up to speed here because he had to let the drivers going by back on track and give him the right of way. So, well, a super unfortunate incident for Crosby. I feel really bad for him as he comes back into corner one. So, only fell about 33 seconds back of the leader, which means he only dropped about probably 15 seconds. So with how bad that incident looked, that's relatively not a lot to give up. But Brian Ellis, it looks like he's made yet another pass on Michael Krobach at some point. Marco Felice, who was also involved in the incident in the background there in that white car. But, well, we'll throw it down to our classic Camel Straight chopper cam just to see if we can get yet another pass. And, well, momentarily it looks like we will. You see on the battle tracker there, less than a tenth separating these two cars. Krobach doesn't look like he's going to send it this time. Maybe they made contact because he's actually losing momentum here into the start of this two-part chicane. So Ellis's feed is going to drop out. I'll have to be sure to cut to Michael just to make sure. Oh, we completely lost his feed there. So unfortunately, Brian Ellis's connectivity is going to give us a little bit of issue here. So we will go on board with Michael Krobach for the time being. But Michael has dropped 2 positions since the start of this race, but not really by any fault of his own. He seems like he's been running consistently fast lap times, and he doesn't really make mistakes so far. So, well, just kind of unfortunate luck for him. Hopefully he'll be able to make up some ground here if he runs quick laps, which, knowing him and his experience in really any form of iRacing and just how well he's been doing this season, I'm never going to count Michael out. And, well, I wouldn't do the same with Logan Pax as we're quickly going to cut away. I feel like, we've given almost no time to our race leader at the moment, but it's because, frankly, he just hasn't really had much to do at the start of this race, which after that battle behind him, you wouldn't be surprised knowing just how much time they probably took away from each other. That pack of 4 that eventually turned into a pack of 5 we were watching there for a couple laps. But, now it's just kind of Logan Paxton trying to run smooth sailing, run as consistently as he can, try not to make mistakes, and we'll just kind of chill up there in the first position. If there was ever a time for him to be maybe drinking a beverage or grabbing water, it's probably on these long Camel Straights where he's by himself with nobody within quite literally, I think, miles at this point, knowing how long the track is. So, let's look back a little bit. Brian Ellis and Michael Krobach's battle may be intensifying. You see, as we come up to this left-hander on this long sweeping straight, they're going to go side by side. Ellis will now lose the position to Krobach, so Krobach will make it all the way around. He cuts down real aggressively. Just barely managed to clear him, so impressive move by Krobach. He will make it back into 4th position. Now only one more position ahead to Justin Lewick if he wants to get back to where he started in qualifying, but unfortunately Justin Lewick seems to have gapped him by about 4.5 seconds, so I don't believe that'll be happening anytime soon, at least not before our pit stops happen. So, let's head up a little bit to Mr. Justin Lewick, who, as he comes around the first corner, trying to chase down Jordan West here, who, he's had a brief little battle with earlier in this race, but overall, Justin Lewick just seems to have, for the most part, stayed out of the trouble that was happening around him, and he was making great defensive moves there in the chicane especially. He just seemed to have a really good idea of where on the track to defend from a pass through a slipstream, and as he comes through a Rouge here, he doesn't quite look close enough to West to try to make a slipstream pass this lap, but, there's always more opportunities later, so, we're going to look back in this very same straightaway. You see in the background there, Brian Ellis and Michael Krobach there, so look at Ellis there right behind him, trying to hopefully make a move in the straightaway again for him, but just over a 10th this time, so he's a little further back than he was last time. He could just chuck it in the inside, see what he can do, but no, instead he'll stay a little bit pacifistic and try to wait a lap, which looks like it will indeed be what he does, and maybe this can be our first brief break of the race. With such long laps, we're almost a third of the way through the entire race, which, I don't know if it feels like it's going by quickly or slowly for all you out there, but hopefully you're having a fun time. This is by far the most I've enjoyed the start of any broadcast this year, so perhaps right now we will head on board with Brian Ellis for a moment, and I will be back momentarily. And we're back here at round 6 of the 2020 Karts to Computers iRacing Series, round 6. First of all, we do have the race audio back. Unfortunately, it was turned off there for a little bit. The replays are a little bit hard to facilitate, but looking back in the field a little bit, or at least on the same straightaway, Michael Krobach once again under attack from Brian Ellis, and further back in the field, Marco Felice and Frankie Esposito. Sorry, that's Ferguson and Esposito there. Felice in the middle of all of them. Ellis pulls out quickly to maybe try to make a move, but let's look further back. Ferguson and Esposito trading the position back and forth. I honestly don't know who is who. I think Ferguson's the car in the lead there, but I guess I can go off tire color, can I? So Esposito is the one with the darker black tires, and the lighter gray tires are those of Logan Ferguson. So again, to mention, you see the gains in this race tracker there. Logan Ferguson is a very impressive start to his race. Started just on the fringe of the top 10 there in 10th, but well, he has since had a very successful race, and he has already moved up to 7th position. So, well, it looks like that pass. I'm not honestly sure if he made the pass or if he got, or if he was trying to defend the position from Esposito. But let's look up a little bit further in the field to Jordan West, who is now under attack from Justin Luke. Once again, it feels like the pace of these two keeps flip-flopping back and forth. Just when I thought Jordan West was by far the quicker of the two, well, Luke is starting to make up ground, and actually West got a surprising amount of slide there on the back end, so well, maybe the tires are starting to go a little bit on these cars, or maybe it just has a more aggressive strategy when it comes to throttle control and wheel spin than that of Justin Luke, but Luke is starting to catch him lap by lap. Just a little bit. Maybe we can throw up our lap time graphic once again. I used it quite a few times in that last race, but maybe a little bit helpful now. So you see a moment ago they were flip-flopping back heavily. Maybe that was just down to, well, at that point, how aggressive our battling was. I know on lap 3, though, there it'll show, as well as lap 4, those like 2-second time gaps. That kind of just comes down to the nature of the battles they were both involved in at the time. So no doubt now these more recent lap times will be more correct, but Lulick is getting them lap by lap in this lap. I mean, we'll see the times when they come around, but he is getting closer and closer. Let's just throw back to our battle box there, but yeah, this battle is developing quite well once again. So just when I thought we'd cooled off a little bit after that intense showcase we had earlier. Actually, let's look back a little bit. Brian Ellis, pretty close to Michael Krobach, not quite close enough to make the move, unfortunately. Actually, he'll get real close coming into corner 1. Very late braking, which might, in Michael's favor, give him the corner exit speed, but actually it won't. Ellis right on his tail, so maybe we'll follow him up through Eau Rouge once again. Maybe try a little bit different of a view. We'll try this. Actually, a little bit kind of unique. Should be working. Hopefully the audio is still at a pretty good level. But, well, they come up the top of Eau Rouge here. You see that front left tire of Brian Ellis should dive to the outside of Michael Krobach any moment now. You see just the slipstream these cars get. They didn't have different exits, but we'll have to dive to the inside. Michael Krobach does get one move. And, well, at least he was trying to run sportsmanlike to try to defend Brian Ellis, and it looks like it won't work here. So Brian will take the complete inside line and shouldn't have any opposition when it comes to trying to take the pass to the fourth position here. Jordan West and Justin Lulick once again up ahead. This is by far the most I've had to try to keep up with battles all season, just because what a race we've had so far. Once again, let's just get a good camera on Justin Lulick, try to see what he's looking at in front of him. Important to mention, in terms of race pace, I mean, Logan Pax has opened up now a 20-second lead on everybody behind him, so, man, well, kind of our series, man, what's the term? Well, at this point, you got to think of him as the Goliath to a field of 12 Davids, at least in this race, but part of that, I would say, has to come down to the battles they were having earlier. We can go do a lap-by-lap comparison from Paxa to Jordan West behind him, but I don't think they're running that much different lap times. It just kind of looked like circumstance at the beginning, and Paxa being able to escape the draft of those behind him was all it took. Actually, Brian Ellis and Michael Krobach seem to be rekindling their battle right behind. All over the track, there's just too much to go find. On the inside here, Michael Krobach may have the advantage. He'll have the outside into this corner, but maybe he'll try the undercut. Try to break him and then dive under. Doesn't quite manage to make it work there, but might have the better run in this corner. He will. He'll dive to the inside out of that second half of that sweeping corner onto the straightaway here. He'll get him, and just a tad bit too wide there by Brian Ellis should mean Michael Krobach will make the pass, but we'll go back to our famous Spa-Francorchamps straightaway chopper cam here. It's been kind of a favorite all race because it's definitely the easiest way to try to show all the chaos happening on the track. So just a quick thing to note, actually, we have another battle forming up ahead once again. West and Lulick are going at it again. Lulick doesn't quite look close enough to be able to make the inside pass. He'll go way late on the brakes. Maybe he'll try to get him in a corner 1 up here, but let's check back with Michael Krobach and Brian Ellis. Actually, Krobach managed to gap him quite well in that straightaway, so when the pass happened, it looked like Ellis just wasn't able to get the momentum to swing back in his favor. Try to make the pass there. Actually, a ways back in the field. Ferguson and Esposito are real close as they come through the chicane as well. Very good lap there, quickly by Justin Lewick, who ran, I think, his quickest of the race. So props to him. But Frankie Esposito trying to chase down Logan Ferguson. We have 3 battles over the track. Let's quickly check on those right now. So West getting a decent gap to Lewick at the moment. Krobach with Ellis right behind him, probably the closest battle we have on track right now. They're going to head up through Eau Rouge, so let's follow with Brian Ellis. I love these cameras up through Eau Rouge as you get to see just perfectly what the drivers are dealing with in terms of these tricky right than left-handers, especially with the incline there. We're now down to about a 10th again. Ellis looks like he's about to try to make the pass back. Krobach isn't even trying to defend the inside line this time. He's just accepted the fact that he's probably going to trade it back and forth one more time before this stint is over. So, well, let's give Ellis the position for now and chalk Mr. Brian Ellis up as your new fourth place driver here. But Justin Lewick still making an effort to chase down Jordan West. Maybe we'll throw to that same camera we had before. Oh, that is not facing forwards. There we go. Yes, you see what he has to see up ahead is Jordan West, a guy he's kind of been mimicking in terms of lap times for the last few laps. I mean, they get a little bit close in parts, but it looks like he's either just can't quite get him on the straightaways and get in that slipstream, or maybe there's a chance that West is just better in Sector 1, Lewick's better in Sector 2. I'm honestly not sure. Actually, there is a graphic I believe might illustrate that quite well. Actually, it will. This is perfect. Look at all the graphics we're finding today. Let's just get a better camera there than... There we go. So, update with the sectors. So I was kind of the opposite of what I was trying to prove, is that I thought earlier in the lap West was quicker, but then Lewick was quicker later, but it seems like that's the exact opposite. Lewick about 3/10 quicker in that first sector of the track, as you saw in our pre-race track map, just exactly what the first sector entails. And then Sector 3, so I guess it's a 4-sector track on iRacing, but we ran about equal through there, so Lewick lost quite a bit in that second sector. I guess some of those trickier kind of chicane style and hairpin corners were giving him some issue, but let's look back in the field to Brian Ellis, who's now got to defend from Michael Krobach once again as they come onto this long passing straight that's kind of been the location for most of the passes of their battle thus far. iRacing definitely the best place to go for unique camera angles you couldn't get in real life, is what you see live, kind of the Jaws creeping up shark effect of Michael Krobach right now on Brian Ellis. Come up in this final corner back onto the straightaway that leads to the final chicane. I wish I better knew some of these corner names, but considering most of them are either in French or some form of European language I can't speak, they do give me just a tad bit of trouble. So Krobach once again caught him. If you look at our sector timer there, we will throw back to our battle box for the moment. But about half a second back there from Ellis is Michael Krobach. And the one thing I do want to mention quickly, we will give a quick bit of airtime. Actually, before we go to Logan Paxo, let's check on our second place battle. Justin Lewick not too far behind. Should be in his slipstream as they come down the straightaway. Actually, let's look back a little bit because Brian Ellis didn't quite get the corner exit I'm sure he would have liked. So Michael Krobach will be right on his tail. Let's once again check on these battles. We go into this rear camera in order to see just how quickly Justin Lewick is trying to catch him. So Lewick just gets a little bit too much tire spin. The back end kind of comes around on him exiting Eau Rouge. So there's a chance that that'll lose him a bit more ground than he would have liked. But he's still in his slipstream, so we'll see if that goes anywhere in the straightaway. Michael Krobach right behind Ellis. Will he dive to the inside? You got to expect he will momentarily, but he could just be trying to pace himself. I would have thought the slipstream would be heavy enough here to make the move, but maybe not. So West will defend from Lewick, and he'll keep the position. Lewick throws it in real late. Nice entry there by Justin Lewick. Throw back a little bit. Brian Ellis goes completely sideways. He managed to sit. Does he save it? Krobach goes to exit to avoid him. Krobach makes contact with the wall. Oh my goodness, what in the heck just happened? Felt like moment by moment there were about a bazillion things happening there. I am not even going to have time to throw the replay graphic up because my goodness, what was any of that? Brian Ellis, you see, gets on the curb and just comes in way too hot, loses the back end. He manages to save it, but unfortunately it's at the cost of the guy he's battling with, Michael Krobach, who makes a little bit of contact with that outside wall. I wouldn't think it would be by any means something he couldn't deal with in terms of the rest of this lap before he pits. Actually, maybe I'm wrong. Whether it be tires or damage, Michael has spun once again. Again, no time to put up the replay graphic because, well, Michael is losing positions rapidly, and now he's also gotten on the curb, so just an absolute falling apart, really, of a lap 11 there for Mr. Michael Krobach. Not by really any fault of his own. He did the very best he could to try to avoid Brian Ellis earlier, but maybe he's lost it again! Every time I cut, there's just something new happening. Those tires must just be on absolute fumes right now. Let's see there. So he's exiting the corner. Let's just get the whole straightaway here, because we'll throw it into this chase camera. But look at just how quick he appears to get caught by the cars behind him. Like, he's coming down the straightaway. His tires, I guess he's just trying to get him up to speed or go slow, but he's going to let one car by. One of the Prime Power Team cars. That's Marshall Crocker Sr. behind him, as well as Devin Crosby. But he just completely loses the back end. Like, he gets on the tires, or on the rumble strip there, and I guess based on the way he's traveling with his tire wear, he just absolutely lost it. I got a feel for the guy, because none of this really seems like any fault of his own. That one incident kind of was a domino effect for the rest of the lap. Let's look ahead a little bit back to a main battle. That's Logan Paxa there. We'll quickly cut to him, but I'm sure we'll no doubt get to him momentarily. But Jordan West with Justin Lewick right behind him. And now the new battle for fourth becomes between Brian Ellis and Marco Felice, replacing Krobach in that back and forth hand on the bat game from the 80s that we're watching happen lap by lap. Actually, the first pass we may see in this battle into corner one, Marco Felice with kind of a interesting way to make the pass there. The first time we've seen one all day. So Logan Ferguson and Marshall Crocker will be our first drivers to come into the pits tonight on lap 12. So as we learned at Okayama last week, it's important to keep note of what lap guys come into the pits, because it can be crucial later in the race. We'll cut back to Felice and Ellis's battle in a moment, but the pass may be developing here between Justin Lewick and Jordan West. Indeed it will. So once again, we'll throw to this famous straightaway chopper cam. Lewick's going to go straight by Jordan West. So Justin Lewick will now take second position. Brian Ellis, I believe, is taking it from Marco Felice as we speak, but Felice will have the inside line, so will he be able to leverage that into keeping his position? It looks like he won't even try. Ellis will just solidly keep the position into corner 6 as, well, again, this straightaway just seems to be the location of every single pass we're witnessing happen here. Absolutely props to everybody who's able to make it work in this certain section of the track. Jean Guerra will make the pass between the two guys in the pits there, so he will move up to 9th. Michael Krobach also in pit lane, as we learned recently after his incidents. Just travesty to see him go all the way from 5th to 12th based on one incident in such a small field. I mean, that can be basically upper middle of the field to dead last, because, I mean, only Rich Foligno's behind him, and it looks like Rich Foligno won't make it out of the race. It looks like he's either got damage to repair or he's had to leave tonight's race early. So either way, it's a shame that we appear to be down to 12 cars at the moment. Hopefully Krobach, I mean, he does have a faster pair, so exiting pit road as we speak. So glad that he was able to make that work. But let's look ahead in the field momentarily as Justin Lewick and Jordan West, this battle still continuing to rage on. I just want to do a through the field segment, but I can't if we continue to have battles as entertaining as this one. Lewick's going to slide up a little bit, but manages to gather it to the car up. Actually, Jordan West did much the same thing, so he'll drop back in the battle tracker a little bit, but 2/10 in that corner. Looking ahead, looks like Lewick is not really going to lose ground here. I mean, the slipstream is strong, but maybe not that strong to be able to get him in this corner. So look back once again between Brian Ellis and Marco Felice. And my goodness, guys, I do have to show the field at one point in this section, so if somebody could just stop battling, that would be lovely. But it would appear I'm not going to get that liberty at any point right now. So, we might even see a pass on this straightaway. Felice is going to head to the outside. I may not even have time to go to my chopper view. Well, we just barely will, but Felice won't make the pass anyway. Jordan West will come into the pits this time by. As you can see, Ellis loses the back end. Well, Felice says, no, I'm out of here. And, well, I don't even want to deal with Mr. Brian Ellis in front of me, so he'll head in as well as Jordan West. So, two Prime Power Team drivers deciding this is the lap. Interesting to note as we head back to Logan Paxa. I will do a quick through the field once West and Felice exit the pits, but it is important to note that Paxa, at both the Indy race we did to start the year and Okayama, he did unfortunately lose his lead very late in the race due to pit planning, specifically that of fuel save. So after his race in Okayama ended, as we showed in the recap, just because he couldn't quite pit as late as he'd hoped, at least at the start of the race, maybe he's trying to wait a little bit compared to these other guys. Actually, Frankie Esposito enters the pits as well. Quickly show him another Prime Power Team guy. Maybe all of them are planning a little bit to try to make this lap their universal pit stop time. But yeah, as I was mentioning, Logan Paxa, that situation in Okayama where he just pitted too early, it looks like he's trying to make up for those mistakes in the past, and he is going to go as long as he can, or at least as long as the guys behind him. No doubt, due to his timing, he knows when they're going to go in, so well, they'll probably pit the lap he does, and vice versa for Logan. He'll probably make sure that well, if they pit behind him, he pits that same lap just so we can kind of mimic the pit strategy behind him. I would assume, if I were him, but well, I most certainly am not. And really, even if I were, I don't think I would be having nearly as much success as he is this season. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but we will do a quick segment that we haven't done in a while. We will do a through the field. So let me just throw up our usual suspects in terms of graphics. And there we are. Mr. Logan, nope, that is not the thing I wanted. Haha, that's the one. So, well, Mr. Logan Paxa will be your current race leader, and has been for quite a while. Actually, Justin Lewick starting to break that 20-second gap back to him he had a moment ago, but, well, with all the chaos happening behind Mr. Logan Paxa, his lead has never really been in jeopardy today. I mean, props to him. He's run about as smooth as he possibly could with how difficult this track is, so I mean, he deserves the lead so far, and actually we'll stick with him momentarily before we move back to Justin Lewick in second, just to see if he pits this time by. Gotta wonder if he will. I would expect so. We'll take the corner here, and yes, he will take the straight path out of the chicane, meaning he will enter the pits. So, your temporary leader, unless he also pits, will be Justin Lewick, which, actually, now that I say it, I would expect to happen, but as you can see in Luke's information, he has moved up 3 positions since the start of tonight's race, and he will indeed pit. So, well, now the responsibility falls on Brian Ellis to see if he will lead tonight's race after Paxa and Luke ahead of them both enter the pits. Ellis has moved up 4 spots and will also pit. So it looks like I picked the perfect time to start doing this through the field. We'll move back a little bit to Devin Crosby, who, well, you remember Devin Crosby's incident earlier where he made contact with, what was it, Justin Luke? I'm trying to remember who he got alongside, but yeah, that crash into the gravel there and the exit to like corner 14 somewhere in the track, but he had damage earlier, and he will also come into the pits. So, well, it looks like everybody I go to is going to come in, so maybe it's a bad omen. So let's see if Jordan West continues the streak and also comes into the pits. I don't believe he had pitted previous. If he has, he'll actually be running pretty well. No, he'll stay out, so he may move up to second depending on when Luke is able to exit the pits, but we will continue this kind of bizarre through the field. Marco Felice and yet another identical Prime Power Team car running in 6th position. I'm just going to try to tell, based on the lap times, whether or not these guys have pitted recently. It looks like he has not either, so... oh, actually, sorry, lap 13, he has indeed, so... Well, looks like he has had this race figured out, so Felice and West will presumably rekindle their battle now that they both exited the pits. Ellis is going to exit back a little ways from Felice. Now I have to remember where I was. Logan Ferguson, and yet another Prime Power Team car running in 7th at the moment. He will pass possibly Devin Crosby for 6th. Actually, Crosby's exiting quick enough. I don't think he'll make it up to him, but wow, actually a very aggressive lockup on the tires there from Logan Ferguson while we're on board with him. Frankie Esposito, guess again, yet another Prime Power Team logo. You see there in 8th position trying to chase down Ferguson. Actually, a little bit too far back to maybe make a move, but then after that, Marshall Crocker Sr., my father, who I know has been putting in some good lap times here, at least in practice, and trying to qualify as best, or sorry, try to practice as much as he can. So good to see he's having a pretty successful race there at 9th. Then back from him, Josh Gallagher, who pitted a moment ago, definitely more of an oval specialist than many of the other guys in this race. So, well, it's good to see that he's still running good lap times. I mean, anything near maybe the 2:56, 57 mark is pretty good for a normal race pace for an entire race at Spa and the Skippy. So props to him. And then Michael Krobach, who with the really unfortunate incident earlier just made contact in a battle with Brian Ellis when Brian lost it in the chicane, as I remember, a few laps ago. And well, the damage from the wall there and all the built-up grime on his tires just sent him around a few times, which, well, really unfortunate news for Michael tonight. So after that, Jean Guerra, who appears to have come into the pits, currently sitting in 12th, should round out your field because Rich Felino has unfortunately exited the race. I'll have to get insight into why that is the case afterwards, but for the time being, Jean Guerra will exit the pits, so his charge up through the field could no doubt be a fruitful one, because seeing as how many incidents we've had today, I would by no means be surprised if we had yet another one. So, of course, I never wish that on anybody, but well, our timing tower is being a little bit glitchy, but well, with that officially finished, we will conclude our through the field. So, well, maybe now that all that is done and the guys are spread out a little bit, we will take another break, and then we will go through the field once again to see if any battles developing. So, well, I feel like I haven't given him nearly enough nearly enough fanfare this race, or nearly not enough camera attention. So we will go on board with Logan Paxa for part of this lap, and when we return, we will check through the field to see if any battles are developing. Well, after another brief break there, just to get some water as we get to the half point of tonight's race. I did see a comment from somebody asking where the track map was. I did forget for part of the race to put it in, but for some of the battles, I just find it covers too much of the screen. So I know it is a fan favorite, and it's by far the coolest thing this graphics package allows for. So I will throw it up once again now that we've kind of spread the field out a little bit. But speaking of spreading the field out, maybe I am wrong in that statement because Justin Lewick has Jordan West chasing him down at the moment. He's gotten about maybe a second and a half up closer to him since the last time I checked. So, well, we come to lap 16 here, so just past the halfway point of tonight's race. With Jordan West running the quickest lap of the race so far, so those new tires clearly helping out. I'm honestly not sure what number Jordan West is. I believe the 68 car, so that 68 Skip Barber car there is chasing down Mr. Justin Lewick very rapidly. He's about 3/10 back, so with a proper slipstream, there's a solid chance he'll be able to pass him this time by. I will say, actually, the track map does make it easier for sure to be able to track battles, so that is an advantage most definitely. I can see a battle happening between Josh Gallagher and Michael Krobach for 10th right now. I'll go back to that quickly. Just want to see if this happens to escalate any further, and if Lewick is actually able to get past by Jordan West. I will keep... Hopefully the audio level's a good spot. I just don't want them too loud for some of these longer shots, and then when the cars get closer, I know they can be a little bit jarringly loud, like the first race of the year. So, trying to keep the audio in check while we wait for maybe this battle to go anywhere. Wasn't able to get him in that straightaway, unfortunately. So, the Camel Straight not quite long enough for Jordan West to move back up into second, but well, he's catching him rapidly. So, I would by in no means be surprised if we were able to have a. Oh, actually, Justin Lewick will slide to the outside. It's important to note he is also a Prime Power Team guy, so Prime Power Team top 4 right now, just not quite all the same livery there. Justin Lewick is going to slide to the outside once again, try to block Jordan West up there, meaning West will have to dive all the way under if he wants to make a pass here, and well, a pass in this corner too tight will send you flying to the outside, either spin you out or give you penalty points. So it is important to note that, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, Logan Ferguson is pitted once again. He did pit for fuel originally, I had thought, so... Well, I've got to wonder what's happening there with his pit strategy. Hopefully not damage or anything. Well, he's out of the pits, so seems a little bit quick to be a stop with a quick repair in it. So not really sure what happened there or how to explain that one. Yeah, Justin Lulick still remains in second position. Where he's kind of sat for the last little while. Even with pit cycles, I believe he was able to just barely stay ahead. So I don't believe these two pitted on the same lap, but perhaps newer tires from West, or maybe he's just faster in pure race pace. But well, this chopper cam is perfect for this section of the track. As you see on the track map, this long sloping left, well, with a few kinks, but it's a long sloping left straightaway. As you see Jordan West trying to maybe make something happen on the outside. I don't believe he'll be able to. Actually, Lulick will slide up a little bit, so he's got the momentum. You can't pass from that side into the chicane unless you go side by side, and Lulick will block the top. So Lulick will maintain his position for this lap, but, well, West does get closer and closer every time they go through, so nothing is by any means guaranteed at this point. As we've really learned this entire race, nothing is ever guaranteed at Spa-Francorchamps, so... that battle between Michael Krobach and Josh Gallagher, I unfortunately did miss it because of this one, but Michael Krobach does appear to have made it past Josh Gallagher. Maybe we have a moment while this battle gets revved up and no doubt ready to go again. So Krobach makes the pass by Gallagher, and seeing the race pace he had at the beginning and the fact that he qualified third, wouldn't be surprised that if he kept this trajectory going. And I mean, 33 seconds is a long way to go, but well, he's got half a race to do it, so maybe if he was able to try to catch up to Crocker, Marshall Crocker, my father, there you can see on the track map just how far away that is, but, well, maybe the track map doesn't even do justice quite how long this is, but you see how slow the circles there are moving? Well, he's got to get from 9 to maybe 8, and once he's there, he might have the slipstream to catch up to Frankie Esposito in 7th, so no doubt trying to put this race back together is Michael Krobach at the moment, but races that are very rapidly, or sorry, battles that are very rapidly approaching here. You see Justin Lulick with Jordan West right behind him. Lulick's going to slide out just a tad, so West may get a better run out of the corner there. You see West, maybe we'll see what he tries to do in here. He hasn't, really nobody's kind of made a pass in this section of the track so far, at least not one that wasn't inspired by a crash or a caution, or not a caution, a crash or just a small mistake by a driver, so well, he actually does manage to make that corner pretty well. I think West will have a better exit, but he did manage to make up some ground there, so Lulick continues this battle once again. It feels like he's just kind of found himself, well, kind of unable to take a rest this entire race just based on how much competition he's had for that, well, various positions he's had. It's been second for a little while, but whether it was 5th or his impressive push up to 2nd that he then had to defend earlier in the race, probably lap 5 or 6. Man, the only thing I can think right now is, boy, I'm going to have quite the edit to do for the race recap for next race, because my goodness, this has been an exciting battle. Really, all these battles all race have been fascinating to watch, and yeah, I would probably anticipate we might even need to make next week's broadcast at Phoenix on a Thursday a little bit earlier, because man, I'll have a lot to go through before we take the green flag there. But well, we continue to watch. Oh, Lulick has completely lost his feed there, so cut away, because usually where there is, when it rains it pours. That's the slogan. When it rains it pours when it comes to connectivity. Because usually when you see a little glitch, it means there's about to be a bigger one, and I always want to avoid that. So let's actually check the battle for... Oh, never mind. Right as I say that, we see a huge push there from West. He will... Oh, we got the wrong driver there, but West on the outside. Lulick is going to defend the inside once again, so coming into the chicane, he shouldn't be able to make it work. But, well, if he's able to do the undercut, there's always a chance he'll get him coming into corner 1 here, as that may be the exact situation we have, because West got a pretty good run out of that corner. Actually didn't... quite run quick enough, I would say, to make the pass, at least into 1, so we'll see if that develops once again. But actually a battle for 7th that is currently going down. That's, well, maybe not a battle yet, but Marshall Crocker seems to be catching up slowly to Freddie Esposito, which, I mean, is interesting, seeing as these two really haven't interacted this far, so far this race, and I honestly can't remember all season seeing a battle between these two happen. So, well, Marshall Crocker, this actually ties his best race finish of the year, so again, yet another successful performance for him that should no doubt shoot him up through the points. But as he looks ahead of Freddie Esposito in front of him, I'm just looking at the time gaps between each of the drivers. So Michael Krobach is now extended his gap ahead of Josh Gallagher to 6 seconds. So impressive lap times being run by him. Jordan West appears to have made the pass on Justin Lulick. Right as I kind of doze off for a minute, Lulick will give up the position to West there. So West is going to go real wide. He's going to lose the back end, so sliding it like a go-kart may work sometimes, but kind of lost all his momentum coming into the chicane there from his very quick slipstream Kimmel straight there. So Luke now only about 3 tenths back. We'll throw up the battle box once again because it feels like it kind of perfectly summarizes this entire race so far. It's just having it up constantly, but well, West with Luke now only well, still about 3 tenths behind him. But well, these trees are in the worst spot imaginable for this camera. But Luke finally on his tail once again, coming down the hill into this long sweeper that we've seen many drivers have trouble with all race. Looking back through the field once again, doesn't seem to be any battles developing anymore. Even the track map, as you can see, this is kind of the only main altercation we're having at all. But well, Luke giving up the position to West on the Kimmel Straight this lap. Let's see if he can maybe make the position up again. No doubt when they go into that long multiple left-hand kink straightaway that I still unfortunately don't know the name of. I can even check my track map during the race, but well, I won't do that until I have a little bit more time. This battle could still accelerate any moment, knowing how these two have been going back and forth like a dogfight all race. Jordan West and Justin Lulick, I mean, I don't believe either has a podium yet this year, so both guys that are very talented. Whenever I go to practice, it feels like they're always running very quick laps, no doubt in the top 5 typically, but unfortunately for them, they just haven't been able to turn it into any, at least top 3 podium positions as far. So, well, he's now got down to just about a 10th behind has Justin Lulick, so shouldn't be this lap either, at least not seeing how they're running on the chopper cam up into the chicane, but well, no doubt has this been a good lap for Lulick. Actually, once again, he's kind of famous for those late braking points that he's had all race, so won't quite work there, and Luke will kind of tootle backwards a little bit, even a little bit backwards. Whoa, that wasn't words. A little bit backwards from them is Marco Felice, who I believe is the 3rd place of the, oh man, I think 6 Prime Power Team cars, so he's definitely in the top 50 percentile there, so props to Marco Felice for having a very good race. Another guy who I don't believe is at a podium thus far this season, so well, we've got a few guys on the podium, or at least in contention now, that would absolutely shake up the championship standings. And I mean, props to all of them, because it's been a pleasure to watch them all season. And unfortunately, just having those podiums mostly split all season between Logan Paxa, Devin Crosby, Michael Krobach, Renee Hart, Josh Gallagher, because he got a win earlier in the year. I'm trying to remember who else has had a few. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Justin Luke did have a podium position, but Samuel McEachern, actually, as well, at the beginning of the year was kind of famous for them. So, well, there's a battle developing in front of me that I'm completely missing. Jordan West still trying to defend from Lulick. Lulick hasn't quite made a move stick, but West has kind of made a few of these tiny little errors in certain corners in this section. So maybe we'll throw up the sector tracker once again for this lap just to see if, well, my suspicion from earlier was that in certain sections one driver was quicker than the other. And I mean, Lulick got 3 tenths there, but that's no thanks to the Kimmel, or no doubt thanks to the Kimmel Straight and its infamous slipstreams it provides these Skip Barber cars. So, well, Sector 1, we'll see if Sector 2 is any what of a different story. If you look at the track map, actually it is 2 tenths shifting the other way, so I almost think that in terms of these corners, or at least ones with tough sight lines, that having a car in front of you would make it more difficult to try to make them, which really doesn't seem like too bad of an intuitive guess here, because, well, we'll check Sector 3 when it comes popping up in a moment. This is apparently a 4-sector track. I assumed it was 3 like the F1 track, but, well, when it's running about an entire minute longer of a lap than the F1 track, no doubt different sectors, but, well, he gets that final 10th back this lap, does Jordan West, as he runs about a 10th and a half quicker than Lulick in Sector 3, so we'll check Sector 4, which is a long straightaway, but seeing that he's dropped back to about 8 tenths this lap, I don't think Justin Lulick will be able to fully utilize the slipstream in order to make that pass for second happen this lap. So Logan Paxa should be crossing the line right as we speak, so we will hit the 2/3 point of our race, 10 laps to go, which, I mean, doesn't mean nearly as much as Noble. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's still very much of this race left to go. I would anticipate probably just over a half hour. Probably just under a half hour, seeing as how the time has gone this far. Lulick once again sends it in late. I was kind of writing off the fact that he'd be able to make anything happen on the chicane there, just because how far back he was. But, well, it appears I was indeed wrong. West trying to chase down West being chased down once again by Justin Lulick. But let's actually check the lap times on the slide out timing board there, because Marco Felice, he ran a little bit slower that lap, but Man, Marco Felice was catching Justin Lewick pretty solidly for a minute, and just like the effect from Logan Pax at all the guys behind him earlier in the race, I just figured, well, if you're in too busy of a battle and you had too much going on, you might give up time to those behind you. Actually, Sector 5 of that last lap, it looks like West and Lewick went exactly tied, so this battle, no doubt, lap by lap, starting to escalate, but well, Lewick ran just a little bit quicker on that last lap than West did, but I think that's no doubt a nature of how the straightaways work here rather than maybe necessarily driving style. But, well, we're going to go to this chopper view once again, and hopefully the audio is up loud enough because I can't even hear it. But Lewick trying to chase down West in this. Oh, that was a little bit too loud. West is going to slide out at the back end a little bit. Lewick couldn't quite capitalize on it that time, but he is running a little bit quicker than he has really all race coming out of that straightaway. So I thought maybe that could be the opportunity, but unfortunately not. We see another driver actually coming to the pits, Michael Krobach. So I'm going to wonder if he's just pitting early because of the damage earlier, or I'm honestly not sure what his situation. Again with these trees, apparently they feel the need to get in front of all of the good battles on track. This lovely chopper camera that I love using, but oh, that's a little loud. This lovely chopper camera that I love using, but on certain sections of the race, it can be unbearable, and well, that can kind of lose track of the battle, which I will avoid doing at all costs. Actually, let's check back quickly to the battle for 7th between Frankie Esposito and Marshall Crocker. Marshall Crocker Sr., my father, continues to chase him down. Quite impressively so, actually. We'll just get rid of the sector timer there because we no longer need it, but we do have the battle box to still check, so Marshall Crocker Sr. has actually made up 5 positions, so props to my dad from going to from what was essentially the back spot on the grid, not necessarily by any fault of his qualifying times, just because he didn't manage to run one. But yeah, so it went from a maybe subpar starting spot on the grid to all the way up to 8th and maybe 7th momentarily, as lap by lap it looks like these two have been running very similar lap times. Actually, let's show our lovely lap time tracker. Hopefully it shows the right drivers. No, it doesn't. Well, we'll see it this time. So yeah, Marshall Crocker Sr. actually on lap 18 he ran almost a full second quicker, so it's getting faster and faster lap by lap, and as I mentioned, 8th is already his best finish of the season. I believe he ran it last week at Okayama, so props to him on that, and he may even improve it this week if he manages to make it up to 7th. And well, knowing how some of our races, at least the road courses, have ended this season, it would not be out of the realm of possibility at all if we had a driver just kind of randomly spin on their own at some point in this race. And if that was the case, he can make it up to 6th, and in a crazy scenario, almost up to the top 5 and get his first top 5 of the year. So really knowing how we've run all season at these road courses, anything is possible. So going to come out of the final kink in this, second to last kink in this long straightaway that I still don't remember the name of. And man, I wish I did. Justin Luke, I somehow completely missed along the line, along the course of this race where he got past Jordan West, but he appears to have. So Jordan West actually ran a really slow last time by. He was like 2:53.6. Kind of out of character there for Jordan West. It's definitely his, or sorry, that was Lewick there. So they must have had a quite the aggressive battle if they both slowed each other down that much. And well, to me, what I see in the background is Marco Felice there down the Kimmel Straight a little ways. He is trying to chase down this battle. Sorry, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that I missed that, but I'm sure there were people shrieking at me in the comments to notice it. But unfortunately, this timing tower has too much going on, especially with the trying to identify battles on the track map. So apologies for that. But well, that seems to have kind of solved itself out. This battle behind it as well just doesn't seem to really be going anywhere. I thought Crocker was catching him, but that last time by he did still catch him up a little bit. About 3/10, which isn't bad by any means, but isn't quite enough to make a pass quite this soon. So let's get a little bit closer that we haven't so far this race, and we'll check in on Justin Lewick and Jordan West once again. The kind of the classic battle at this point in the race. Feels like if I ever need something to show, just head down to our two favorites there. I'm just going to quickly check the comments, see if there's anything that is going wrong. Yeah, unfortunately, the audio levels for the cars with some of the TV cameras, it's can be a little too quiet. So I try not to keep it too loud, just because with sometimes it messes weird with the camera, or not the camera, the microphone audio. So I will keep doing my best. Video's been a little grainy in spots. Yeah, hopefully that isn't a permanent thing. Part of that is because this is as the test race for the new graphic settings. I have turned down the rate a little bit of that frames are created, so there are chances that some of them are going to look a little bit worse for wear than others. So generally, if this looks better than the last race, just let me know in the comments, and then I can make the changes from there to make it look even better. Yeah, I know currently one change I'll want to make going forward to try to make it absolutely perfect if I can, but well, overall the feed looks pretty good to me. I'd say it looks pretty clean overall, so I'm happy with the changes that have been made. And going forward into next season, I want to keep improving these broadcasts as much as I can race by race. Jordan West is going to come into the pits this time by. Sorry, I missed that in my little tangent there, but Jordan West does indeed come into the pits. John Guerra, you saw in the background there, is going to let Justin Lewis in second place by. Doesn't really have a good camera to follow him. Thank you, iRacing. So he will pull into the pits there. Brian Ellis will make the pass on him for fourth position. I was going to say maybe he could try to pull a few laps out here and then try to pit late for tires and maybe make a move on Jordan West that he just passed. But now West pitted a little bit too far ahead of him for me to realistically think that'll be the case. So a quick thing to note as well, Crosby's a ways back, but lap by lap he's catching him up he caught him up 3.5 seconds on lap 19. So Crosby's running quick, and maybe Brian Ellis on his old tires is starting to slow down a little bit. But Crosby, who this would be the second time this year he's made just a dramatic comeback from an unfortunate situation, and so many guys actually this year have been impressed with the comebacks. I know Logan Paxa had an amazing one at the Roval where, well, those of you that have great memories will remember on the very first lap of that race he got caught in an incident where, well, he moved a little bit too wide to what I think it was Matt Clark that he was battling without, and kind of got around and spun out there, and I believe he might have made contact with somebody, but got back up to speed, put it on the loud pedal, and managed to come away with the win in that race. So Devin Crosby maybe trying to imitate that, move his way up to fourth, and well, the way he's going, I've talked about it before, but well, if some crazy incident happens to go down, we could see something cause a position change. But speaking of position changes, Crocker and Esposito are going to go side by side into the corner here, with both of them just passing Jordan West that time by. So Crocker and Esposito move up to 6th and 7th respectively, meaning this becomes the battle for 6th position. We'll throw up our battle box there. So well, my father's definitely his best chance all race to try to make a pass on Frankie Esposito. Sorry, I keep getting his name wrong, but on Frankie Esposito, and unfortunately that just wasn't quite the opportunity to do it. He came side by side really close, but with that outside line, you got to have a perfect braking point entry into that chicane, and not that he had a bad one, he just didn't quite get it much improved from Frankie Esposito, so Esposito will keep his position. Paxa will come across for lap 23 there, so we are coming later and later in this race, meaning less and less time for battles to develop. I believe everybody probably has their stops in. There's only somewhere that I can check how many pit stops everybody's taken. Is this it? It is, so well, this will be helpful for at least the time being. Hopefully the screen's not too cluttered for those of you trying to watch the battle here, but well, Crocker Sr. is getting closer and closer in every single corner, so as we come onto our other main straightaway of the track, he should have the slipstream. Well, actually he's a little bit far back, but well, about half a second, that should be close enough. So Crocker moved up 6 positions so far this race. I guess the pass from Jordan West would be what did that for him, but Jordan West, you're furthest in the field amongst the drivers that have run 2 stops so far. Krobach as well, who should have pitted late enough that he doesn't have to come in again, I believe. We might have to throw it into chopper camp, because actually Crocker closed up real hard in that first 2 sections of this kind of 3-section straightaway, as he'll make it on the outside here, but once again, just unless he has the perfect braking point, he won't quite make it. He will check up a bunch, but almost tried the undercut. Didn't quite work there, so an unfortunate corner exit means I think Esposito will have the advantage, at least as we come across the start-finish line once again, but well, it didn't really seem to matter. He's still not too far behind, just not quite as close as he was a moment ago. The advantage here being you can kind of mimic braking points if you're following in behind a driver through tough corners, so if you see them mess up, you can try to make your line a little bit different in order to follow him and make up time based on their misfortune. Once again, I believe this is the only battle on track that I can tell so far, so we'll stay here for a moment and then do yet another through the field because I want to make sure we check in on everybody. But I kind of bump drafted him. Crocker's going to make contact with Esposito there, just going to completely send him around. I don't know if Esposito had to check up through Eau Rouge or what, but Well, he sends him around, and Frankie Esposito completely in the wall. Massive damage. I want to figure out what just went down there, so we will head once again to our replay. Well, we're going to start this replay all the way back coming up Eau Rouge, because I think this is where the chaos started. See Crocker making some contact on his back bumper there. They both go real wide, and I don't know if he started to slow up or what, but huge contact with the outside wall. No doubt will need to be towed back to pit road. Well, his tire's falling off, but he did indeed try it, so... Damn, that's tough news for Frankie Esposito. I know he was having a really good race there, and that battle was definitely starting to get exciting, so... Not as tough luck, unfortunately, for Frankie Esposito, as he will have to get towed back to the pits, so... Poor guy, there goes kind of his race there, at least his hopes at a top 5, but from Marshall Crocker's perspective, I mean, however that happened to happen, maybe not, depending on whose fault it was, maybe not guilty, but he's most certainly moved up to 6th, so... Well, congratulations to him on that. He will kind of guarantee a 7th position. I know he will need to come in for one more stop, as Jordan West is the only driver in that top 7 now to have taken 2 pit stops, so... Well, we're currently on board with Logan Paxa, as now that that battle has ended abruptly, there is nobody else really to go to. Yeah, actually, maybe we'll do through the field while I have a moment, because knowing this race, there will be another battle immediately, a moment from now, and I will need to cover it. So, well, let's throw up our old graphics from earlier. There we go. So, well, first of all, our current pole sitter, as well as current race leader, ahead by 35 seconds. I'm getting flashbacks to Laguna Seca, where he won, I think, by almost 45 or something from Matt Clark, who finished 2nd in that race as well. Unfortunate to note that Matt Clark has unfortunately had to miss a few races lately. Marshall Crocker comes into the pits after that incident with... I'm blanking, with Jordan West a minute ago, as well as Devin Crosby also coming in, but the 2 crows on the bottom graphic. If I were racing, there'd be 3, which thank goodness I'm not. But yeah, unfortunately, Matt Clark hasn't made it out to a few races in a row. He's definitely a really talented guy. He was a guy that was battling for the championship for sure. I think he's missed 2 races, and I think he's still in 6th, so he's an absolute force. But man, I hope he gets back out here soon if he's able to get his I believe it's technical issues that he's having. So hopefully he gets those fixed, and we have one of our big contenders back. But yeah, Logan Paxton, sorry, I went a bit of a tangent there, but he is your current race leader in pretty dominant fashion. Behind him, Justin Lewick in that Red Bull entry. Don't be confused, though. Another member of that kind of Prime Power Team stable they formed over there. He is running a Red Bull livery, but he could very well be running the Prime Power Team livery if he wanted. But I like to think he did it for the good of my heart, knowing that if he did that, there'd be 7 in the field, and that'd be more than half the field, and I would have an aneurysm. So thank you, Justin Lewick, for saving me the trouble on that end. Marco Felice, currently sitting in 3rd, moved up 3 positions from 6th. Actually, all drivers from 2nd to 4th moved up 3 positions. I'll quickly throw it up there just so you can see the progression from each driver, the ups and downs they've had all race. Marco Felice, the 2nd of the 2, well, I guess 3 Power Team drivers. I'm just going to stop referencing that because I'm confused now. But yeah, Marco Felice, he was very involved in that famous, at least in my eyes, famous 4-man battle on, I think, lap 4 or 5 there. That really interesting battle we had there. So he was filing in and out there, and he was making some great passes, so things seem to have calmed down, and he does have to come in for another pit stop, which should still file him out ahead of Jordan West, who's, well, actually the 2nd of the 2 drivers who have come in for an extra pit stop, the other being Devin Crosby, who slots out in 5th, so... Well, Marco Felice, very solid race overall, still trying to chase down Justin Lewick. I shouldn't underplay just how close he still manages to be. You see Justin Lewick right there, so... Well, if he's able to continue to progress through the field, no way I would write him out of the fact that he could still only get a 2nd place position by the end of these next 5 laps to the finish. So after that, Brian Ellis, as he comes into the pits, actually, it feels like my streak is back. If every time I go to people, they pull into the pits. After that, so Brian Ellis running in 4th position should slide out, I would think, possibly even in maybe 6th position ahead of Jordan West. I wouldn't write it out of the equation. I think Jordan West might have had a long pit stop because I don't remember him being that far back behind the people in front of him. So after that, Devin Crosby, who has already come in for his 2nd stop. Actually, maybe I'll switch my information there. There we go. So Devin Crosby, the furthest ahead, or at least he was until Ellis came in, of the drivers with 2 pit stops. So he will come into this final chicane, maybe even make the pass on Ellis for 4th position. So, well, the comeback from that unfortunate spin earlier that left him in, I think, like 9th at the time, he has moved all the way back up to 4th. So, once again, huge props to Devin Crosby. Great race tonight. And after that, we have Jordan West, another one of the Prime Power Team drivers. We got a bit of a break from him through the field, but, well, we have another one back. He has also done 2 stops, so he is smooth sailing for the rest of the race. And, well, the top 3 seem to be far ahead enough that I don't think them coming in for another stop will put him behind anybody. But, well, regardless, Jordan West sitting in 6th, and, well, that unfortunate incident with... No, I'm thinking Frankie Esposito. I'm getting all confused. So, well, we'll move back to 7th position. Josh Gallagher, who's moved up 4 spots in the field today, started 11th, and is now all the way up to 7th. So, he still managed to be on the lead lap, despite, I think he only has 1 stop, unfortunately. But, well, he'll make another one. He shouldn't get passed by anybody other than Michael. Actually, he'll probably move back to 10th, if I had to guess. But still, top 10. I mean, I don't think he's finished outside the top 10 all season. So, Josh Gallagher, another pretty consistent finisher all year. Our first winner of the season, so he's doing well in the points because of that. He's probably not going to drop too much because of tonight's finish, so very solid race again from him. Michael Krobach, who, kind of an unfortunate story of the night, got involved in that incident earlier with Brian Ellis, where in an attempt to avoid Ellis spinning in the chicane following the Kemmel Straight, just made contact with that outside wall, took damage, and, well, a few spins because of either his tire wear or that damage meant, well, kind of an unfortunate turning out to his race. Let me just quickly check the pit stops for him. I've been kind of going back and forth, but yeah, he should be good to the finish because, well, he pitted on lap 20 if my memory serves, so he should be good to the finish. So overall, I don't think he would complain with an 8th place finish if it were given to him. So after that, Marshall Crocker Sr., who involved in that mysterious incident with Frankie Esposito a little bit ago, but a very close battle before that. Maybe with some guys pitting ahead of him, he could move up to maybe 8th or even 7th because Gallagher will pit, and he's got way newer tires than Krobach. So if he's able to catch Michael Krobach, he could move his way up to 7th, which would be an absolutely great finish for his season. So after that, it is Logan Ferguson in yet another prime livery. Actually, we have 2 drivers pitting at the same time. Justin Luke and Marco Felice finally going to come into the pits. Not that many laps left on tires. Actually, let me just check something for a second. We'll kind of continue the last over through the field there in a moment, but Logan Paxa, your current race leader, I didn't even notice this. He still hasn't come into the pits. So he pitted on, like, what, lap 13, which I thought would mean, logically, you would... I'm trying to think, because I would have just split it 10, 20, 30. That way you have optimal tires the entire race, but he's still out there. I'm wondering if he's going to try to make it a one-stopper, or if he's just waiting for the guys behind to pit, like I mentioned, then pit after to make sure he avoids whatever happened to him both last race and the season opener. So, well, if you just check the pit stops once again, I'm going to go back and forth once more. One of 2 drivers in the top 10 to only have 1 stop left, so, well, maybe not even 1 stop left. I mean, it's a possibility. He is super unpredictable with pit strategy because he always seems to be 1 step ahead or occasionally, unfortunately, 1 step behind if he can't quite conserve well enough. So, I mean, if he's able to make this a 1-stop, this would be the most dominant gap we've had from leader to the cars behind all season. And even if he isn't, I mean, he'll come out of the pits probably 30, 40 seconds ahead. So, well, Logan Pax at this point just keep smooth sailing, don't make any mistakes, and you will get your 4th race win of the season. Let's head back a little bit to just kind of finish up my through the field. Let me throw to my normal camera. So I was talking about Logan Ferguson, one of the Prime Power Team guys. Hasn't really had a super eventful race today, but overall, he's got a top 10 finish right now, thanks to the chaos with Frankie Esposito and Marshall Crocker a moment ago. Josh Gallagher, important to note, has entered the pits, so Marshall Crocker should make the pass on him. Actually, Ferguson, we're on board with him, should make it in a moment, so he'll move up to 9th. Esposito, I think, is too far back to capitalize on it and move it to 10th, but speaking of Frankie Esposito, it's, well, kind of the moment of the race for him was that crash in Eau Rouge with Marshall Crocker. Again, not sure what happened there, if he just kind of lost too much speed up the top of the hill or what, but well, he is now in 11th, unfortunately, and I mean, he's had some good finishes this season at times, but, well, he seems to be the guy that unfortunately gets caught up in a lot of incidents, not, again, by any fault of his own. He just kind of bad timing, wrong time, wrong place, and Logan Paxa will come into the pits this time, so I believe he's entering pit lane. He will have he'll have the last pit box because he was tonight's pole sitter, but back to Frankie Esposito as Paxa pits, and shouldn't be too eventful there because I don't believe he'll move back in the field as a result of that. But yeah, so Frankie Esposito running a pretty solid race. Unfortunate incident earlier, but still running quick lap times, you see, as he slides at a 2:54. So, well, good race definitely for Frankie Esposito, even if it isn't perhaps in points that we'd like it to turn out. And finally, Jean Guerra, who I haven't really seen him too much tonight, but I mean, he's run quick all year at times. At least he practices really hard in any of our sessions we run, and he's had races where he's shown speed for sure. It's just, well, with some of the guys being so quick ahead of him, and honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe there was times he got caught up in crashes or what, but well, Jean's one of the nicest guys in the entire series that I've met. So, well, he's a super nice guy, and hopefully, that, as we see today, some guys that were further back in the field having really good performances. Well, hopefully his day like that is coming up sooner rather than later. So he will round out your through the field tonight. I would go to Rich Foligno, but unfortunately he did drop out on lap 11. I'm still not sure why. I don't believe it was because of crash or anything, because he took a pit stop, so we should have had one quick repair left. So I'm really not sure how to explain whatever happened there. But well, we are now on board with Logan Paxa as we finish our through the field. There we go. So, well, he's just kind of, as I mentioned, just kind of tootling along, trying not to do anything too offensively risky. Oh, actually, back in the field, we finally have a battle forming between Brian Ellis and Devin Crosby. Crosby, who I think had the position for fourth before. Ellis pitted first, so we took it over from Ellis, and then I guess just trying to make that time back up and make his pass for fourth once again. So I mentioned earlier the drama with Crosby earlier, so the fact that he's managed to catch up all the way to fourth is absolutely huge. Or I guess I should say fifth at the moment, but as you see on Brian Ellis' screen, he's got Crosby flying by on his left, so he'll just slide in behind, give up position to Crosby, and well, we will move on from there. No other major battles throughout the field, really. The gap between Lewick and Felice has actually opened up massively. Interesting to mention that with a 4.5 second gap now between Crosby and Felice, there's actually kind of a chance that, well, he could manage to make up time enough to maybe move up into third position and get on the podium tonight. I think that would be Devin's third podium of the season, so I believe Devin actually runs, I can't remember because I don't want to put the standings up right now, but he was either third or fourth in our standings so far this season, so definitely one of our top performers trying to chase down Marco Felice, who kind of sits mid-pack, and Felice has been quick. He's just had some races where maybe didn't attribute to the track well, and some guys were just so quick that it's hard for anybody to keep up, as was kind of the case at like Roval and stuff like that. But I mean, he's just kind of a consistent guy that's up there all year, is Marco Felice, so wouldn't expect him to make too many big mistakes in these last, well, it'll be 3 laps, because Pax is coming across the line this time for lap 28 to begin. But yeah, I mean, if he can make 3 laps without giving up a full second to Crosby on each one, as well as considering that, I think that's him in the background, but as well as considering that Ellis and Crosby still remain battling. You see Felice in the background, actually closer than I thought. So, well, hopefully for Felice's sake, Ellis gets a little bit rowdy and tries to make some crazy moves on Crosby that require his attention away from trying to chase him down. But quick thing I just do want to mention, actually, let's again, unless Paxa makes a mistake, I don't anticipate there being a what am I trying to say? I don't anticipate there being a change for position, but if there were to be, if you were to crash, that would be an absolutely insane deal for the points. But currently, in terms of lap times, we don't quite have an updated one yet, because that was his out lap, but I do believe Lewick was closing in momentarily there on him. But actually, now that I've switched to this this camera, he's lost about 4/10 on him. So maybe I was just being paranoid there, but let me just throw back to Crosby and Ellis, whose battle I believe is continuing to ramp up. Actually, that was a very interesting exit to the corner they took, because it looks like Ellis is on the outside and has the better pace, which isn't usually how that works, at least not in that corner. So, well, Ellis is going to have a very good run up through Eau Rouge, and maybe even able to catch him as soon as before the Endurance Series pit exit, which is right on the right there. I won't quite make up the time that quickly, but they'll dive to the outside. They're going to go side by side through most of the Kemmel Straight, one would assume. Ellis goes way wide. Looks like he doesn't want to make any contact if he can avoid it. I mean, he had the incident with Krobach earlier, but they are exactly dead side by side. Are they going to try to run side by side through the chicane, or is Ellis going to back off? No, he won't. They are going to go side by side. No, Ellis just drifts off a bit too much there. I mean, it was a safe move with only 3 laps to go. So, props to not trying to lose his race position. But maybe it looks like Ellis will wait a lap, or, well, he can only really wait 2 if he wants to do something aggressive and try to finish this race in a position other than 5th. So Ellis, we lost his feed there momentarily, which unfortunately means we'll get sent back to this view. Let's throw it back to Marco Felice in 3rd position. I talked about him momentarily a moment ago, but you see in the background there, Ellis appears to have popped back on the screen. So, but you see in the background, Crosby and Ellis running about 4 seconds back, maybe just over. Well, luckily for Felice, he really has yet to receive a challenge from anybody, at least not in this final pit stint. So, pretty simple race for him. Just focus on his marks, and he will get his, I believe, his first podium of the year. So, hopefully I can go back and check that in time. So, maybe I can congratulate him on it in the interview. But presuming there is one, because Crosby and Ellis, well, they are still battling, that time gap doesn't seem to be getting bigger, if anything. And considering they are still battling, if Crosby's able to free himself from kind of the prison he's put himself in, interlocked with Brian Ellis, well, maybe he would be able to escape it and try to make a push up towards Felice. He just dropped that gap under 4 seconds for the first time all race, or the first time this stint, I should say. But gonna go to the chopper cam because Brian Ellis got a great run off that corner. Maybe if he hops on the inside, he'll be able to send it up there into the second of these 2 kinks. They'll make the first hard left corner, but doesn't seem to get him there. Gonna try to make the second. It just doesn't quite look close enough in the slipstream to be able to get him into the chicane. So chicane passes up here can be very, very difficult. I mean, Justin Lewick was making a few of them work earlier, but definitely not something I'd rely on. So I'll shoot to the outside a little bit. Maybe try the undercut into the other half of the chicane. Doesn't quite get it, but well, this is a fascinating battle for 4th right here. As well, we come to 2 laps to go. Actually, Paxa crossed the line a long time ago, so Paxa will come up to the white flag next time by this race. Well, it looked like it was going to be a little bit lengthier than usual, but it's been flying by recently, so no doubt thanks to how entertaining these guys have made it all race. And man, I might even have to just post that battle from earlier on its own, because that was one of the most exciting iRacing battles I've ever watched, let alone a Skip Barber race. So oval style pack battling in the middle of a road course series race. So well, I've for one have enjoyed round 6 of the series so far, as we just watched to see if there's any chance that Ellis will catch Crosby here, which unfortunately for the moment it looks like he will not. So, popping in and out is Crosby this time. Unfortunately, these two have had internet connectivity issues in the past, so hopefully that doesn't expand. Actually, let's look at, is that Marco Felice losing speed there? Am I crazy? Oh, they make contact. Who is that? That's not Felice. Devin Crosby makes huge contact with somebody. He actually managed to stay on the track, but who was that he just made contact with? Okay, we're going to have to go back through the field once again. I think our final replay of the day. Well, in a race that has had several incidents in this exact same corner, we see Devin Crosby following one of the prime cars. I can't tell who that is, but didn't give him nearly enough, referring to whoever the lap car was, didn't quite give him enough room there coming into the second half of that chicane corner. So unfortunately, Crosby got squeezed, which lets Ellis get the pass back for free. Let's check live and see where they track now. Logan Pack says he's about to come across the line for the white flag. We'll quickly jump to him, but knowing how long these laps are, I'll have plenty of time to talk about him later on this lap. But well, Brian Ellis now takes the position from Crosby, and kind of the most bizarre way I could have imagined that going down. I'm not sure what lap car it was. I think it's Logan Ferguson, because he's entered the pits, and whichever car it was took huge damage off the wall, so no doubt I would presume that would be what it was. But Logan Paxa is just about to enter Eau Rouge, I should say. So up that long hill he goes. Actually, that's a beautiful camera angle. I should have used that earlier, but well, Logan Paxa will come into the Kimmel Straight for the final time. Let's check on this battle between Ellis and Crosby again. No doubt that would have lit a fire under Crosby, and if his car doesn't have too much damage, this may be how he gets him. Ellis makes a bit of a mistake in that second kink, so then we're going to go side by side into the chicane here. That's Crosby on the outside, Ellis on the inside. Crosby might go all the way around. Manages to make it stick. If he can get him on the second half, he'll have the position. They're going to go side by side. Crosby can't clear him. Going to remain side by side, and Ellis keeps the position. What a series of corners there. That was probably the most entertaining I've seen that chicane taken all day. So Ellis, good move to defend. That was a very clean defense too. I mean, they didn't really come close to making contact at any point. So smooth sailing there, but one lap to go for them as well. Ellis will keep the position from Crosby. nobody else in the field really appears to be battling. So looking at this battle as it presumes, oh no. Okay, let's just, okay, that's down to the feed. I was really worried we had completely lost it again, like we've had, unfortunately, a few times this season, and I was worried we'd lose the finish, but, well, as Logan Paxa coming up through this, kind of the final of the 3 sectors here, as he comes, I'm trying to tell where he is on the track. Oh, the first of the 2 identical kind of chicane corners up into that final long multiple kink straightaway, and then, oh, make a nice pass, actually, on John Guerra, the lap car there, so... Nice move there. He is going to win this race by about 50 seconds. Actually, Crosby made the pass back, so we're going to have to try to split between these 2 things. Crosby at some point made the pass back on Ellis a moment ago. Ellis still in his draft, though. We're going to keep it on the chopper cam because that has been the best spot to watch all these battles happen. Side by side through the, again, as I talked about, the first of these 2 kind of identical chicane corners, if I know where they are properly, which I may not. Actually, they're, oh, these stupid trees. Crosby maintaining his lead at the moment, but Ellis still right in his draft. This battle will intensify as we speak. He's going to head to the inside. I have not seen a pass here all day, but Ellis may try to be the first. Going to go side by side, both maintaining their lines well, but Ellis will clear him. Is he going to make contact again with the trees? But he's going to manage to make it by. Ellis moves up to second. And Logan Paxa, I got to cut to him quickly, but a dominant performance in his 4th race win of the season. Logan Paxa wins round 6 at Spa-Francorchamps. Congratulations, Logan. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk about you a bunch, but holy crap, this battle you're missing behind you. Brian Ellis gets the position back on Crosby. I can't even keep up anymore, so... Well, he made the pass back in that long sweeping corner earlier. Let's follow on board with Devin Crosby. Actually, you know what? Let's make sure the volume's in order, and then we're going to follow along with Devin Crosby for the rest of this lap, as Justin Lewick also will come across the line, but hopefully that's not too loud. But he's going to make the pass on the inside, so they're going to go side by side once again. Again, I got to manage to keep up with this. So they're going to go side by side. Crosby's going to have the position as they head up into the second of these 2 kinks in the straightaway. This is not for a podium place, as Lewick and Felice will claim those as they come out of the corner. But side by side, Crosby looks like he'll keep the position. Into the final chicane, Lewick comes across the line second momentarily, but Ellis is going to try to set it up on the outside. He's going to make the move. Crosby side by side. But Ellis has the inside line. Brian Ellis comes along, and he manages to make it. They're going to go side by side. Devin Crosby will hold him off. What a battle for that last 4th position. Props to both those gentlemen, but my goodness, what a finish to this race. Okay, I'm not even going to throw up the graphic, but I just want to see how close those 2 gentlemen came right here. So you watch, let's just get a replay of that. So we see coming up here, so Crosby has the lead coming into the final chicane. They go side by side right here. Ellis, oh, thank you, trees. Ellis sent it in real deep right there, so he gets the inside line. I thought his line would be too slow, and I thought he could cover, but doesn't manage to block. Crosby has the momentum coming out of that second half of the chicane, and he will win. Well, doesn't win, but he managed to win the battle for 4th position there. So let's go find Logan Paxa. Actually, he's parked there with Mr. Marco Felice, is one of his teammates. Actually, a 3-man power team finish. We're gonna. Oh, look at this, Brent. Wow, we are getting an all power team top 4. The prime power team guys. We're missing a few of them, but well, this is a touching moment if I've ever seen one. Well, they're all going to drift down there. The front 3 kind of flanking in kind of a military style. Your race winner, Logan Paxa. The 16 there in the rightmost on your screen of the 3 identical prime cars, sitting in the middle there, the top 3. So, well, this is one of the kind of the moments of the season for me. This is by far the greatest victory celebration we've seen. No offense to Logan's. Oh, almost makes contact with the Lewick there, but no offense to Logan's hilarious kind of side wall riding celebration at Lanier, but well, they're going to go 3 wide here. This is just a beautiful moment between these 3 drivers. Covering the whole track. Are they going to do a whole lap? Guys, this track normally takes like 3 minutes, and you're doing it at half speed. Eventually, I'm going to have to cut to results, but at the moment, I know this isn't unfortunately live, but I just want to see how this continues to unfold. This is... Oh, that all fell apart. In a way, does that not make... I think that was Marco Felice who just took him out. So I guess Marco Felice will be your kind of theoretical race winner thanks to that. But, well, no, your real race winner for tonight is Mr. Logan Paxa. Josh Gallagher actually just finishing up his lap. So, well, he was. I guess this is still past tense. But congrats to Josh. He did manage to come away with a 9th position. So, on the podium, props to him for that. But Well, now it is time to remove all of our graphics and show you your final race results. And again, what is by far my favorite race of the season so far? That was stellar, and I kind of hyped it up last race. This was going to be a fun broadcast, but well, I certainly hope it lived up to it, ladies and gentlemen. So we will throw up your final race results here. So in your 13 driver field for tonight in round 6 of the Karts to Computers Iverson series, we had your winner of the night, Logan Paxa. I've said that before, but tonight is his 4th race win. So congratulations on that. He has won 66% of our races thus far. So, well, it is hard to in any way judge him for that. Oh, we just somebody appears to have hopped on my Discord channel. We will get to the interviews momentarily. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. So finishing up your standings for tonight, Justin Lewick finishing in 2nd place. Close behind was Marco Felice. Actually, managed to close in the gap more than I thought he had. So Marco Felice getting his, I believe, his first podium of the season. So congrats to him on qualifying or finishing in 3rd position. After that, Brian Ellis and Jordan West rounding out your top 5. I believe that might be a first-time top 5 for both of those guys. So really good night for a few drivers that maybe not too high up in the points or maybe not had a ton of top 5s, but congrats to all of them. So after that, Devin Crosby, who made a great comeback earlier, but dropped from, I think, 4th back to 6th. After that, Michael Krobach finishing in 7th, also had a bit of an incident earlier. Another incident, Marshall Crocker Sr., but he was the beneficiary, and he did manage to come away and tie his best finish of the season in 8th. Josh Gallagher finishing in the 9th position. Frankie Esposito finishing in 10th to round out the top 10. After that, a fellow Prime Power Team livery car in Logan Ferguson finishing in 11th. Jean Guerra in 12th. And Rich Foligno did not finish tonight's race. He did exit on lap 10. Still unsure as to why that was, but he did not finish the race. But as is tradition on these broadcasts, we will remove that graphic and we will get to tonight's interviews. So I believe he is already in the booth with me as we speak, but let me just get this all ready for you, Marco, and then I will be with you in a moment. And there we go. So let me just make sure I got you in the booth. So, hey, Marco, how you doing? Sorry, Marco, you got me? Oh, well, I don't quite have him at the moment. Sorry, Marco, can you hear me? Sorry, just appear to may have technical difficulties here. Let me just try to get a hold of Marco. Hey, Marco, you there? Sorry, Marco, can you hear me? Sorry, Marco. I'm if you're talking, I'm not picking you up currently. Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I think we have Marco in the booth now. So, well, congrats, Marco, on your 3rd place position tonight, and well, overall, just good race tonight. Thanks for coming out, and I got a few questions to ask you, but I believe this is your first podium of the year, so absolutely congrats on that. Tell me if I'm wrong, but well, the first thing to mention tonight was definitely a very exciting race overall. We had some great battles at the start of tonight's race. The one that comes to mind was, I think it was around lap 5 or 6, but it was you and I think 3 or 4 other guys, and one of the most exciting battles I've had all year. So just kind of want to walk through that. And what's it like running with that many cars so close together at a track like Spa? Sorry, Marco, I still have yet to hear you. Maybe it's just a mistake on my end. No, it looks like he... Oh. I am... Okay, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what's happening. Let me just... I may have to re-ask that question in a moment, but... cool. Let's see if that works. Hey, Marco, can you hear me?
Hello?
Oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay. Sorry about that. We had a little bit to figure out. Not sure if it was on my end, but well, sorry. As I was saying before, congratulations tonight on your 3rd place position. I know it was a very difficult race and a very hectic one, but Sorry, is this your first podium of the season? I think it might be.
I can't hear you right now. Currently.
Huh. Okay, let me just... Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some minor issues. Just got to figure out why I can't hear Marco. Huh. Um. Huh. Okay. Well, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is taking a little bit. We will just be a moment. I'll try to do everything I can. Actually, okay. I might. We'll see if this works. Okay. I think I figured this out. Okay, so now I'm going to be typing these questions to Marco, so hopefully that'll work a little bit better. Let's see if I can hear him now. I just got to make sure we don't talk.
It was it was it was a good race. There was a lot of battling back and forth. The draft was really big, especially down the back straight. Just whoever was behind the lead of the train would always get by, no matter what happened. So that was it was tricky to hold track position consistently. But yeah, it was good. It was close racing. It was really fun.
Sorry, just for information, because I'm trying to facilitate between two people.
Yeah, it was,
Just to let you guys know, I am just typing these questions out for him. So, just asking about that battle earlier. So I'm just going to ask him quickly about kind of the difficulty of the track, and if it's a typical question I ask a lot, but if there's any sections that he had most difficulty with, or maybe a toughest corner.
it was a good race. The yeah the track, it was a difficult track, some portions, because especially Eau Rouge, it's very on the edge. If you made a small twitch or mistake, it was a really difficult track. I know Puan was another really tricky section, where if you got it right, it was a pretty high risk, high reward situation. But no, it was uh when you got to know it, it was a pretty good track. It was fun. Uh, yeah, I mean, thank you, Marshall, for hosting the race. It was a great event. I like to thank my parents for helping me get everything set up, have all this chance and like time to just practice for all these races. And again, thanks to my like teammates as well for helping throughout the weekend, helping me get faster throughout the race. Just it was a lot of help from everyone. It was really good. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, it's a shame that none of that quite worked out how I wanted to. But okay, so hopefully I'm just going to reset some things in the Discord, and then hopefully we will have our interviews back up and running. I don't actually think Justin can hear me. Okay, let's. Hey, Justin, can you hear me? No, he cannot. So, oh boy. Okay. We don't have a ton of time, so I'm just going to throw to a commercial quickly and then try to get this fixed, and I will be back momentarily.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Okay, well, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little bit of confusion there, but we are back. I believe I have got him properly on an interview. So tonight's second place finisher, his highest position of the season, as far as I know. But well, first of all, congratulations, Justin. Good race tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to finally be here.
Well, first of all, I mean, tonight was a race that a lot of people were hyping up as was going to be really exciting and that they were really looking forward to because Spa is, I mean, it's a world famous track. It's one of the most difficult in the entire schedule, and with so many sections to the track, it's a 5-sector track, 3-minute laps. I mean, what was the hardest thing to deal with throughout the race? Was it like kind of the long repetitive laps? Because you didn't run too many. You only ran a 30-lap race today, and seeing how long the track was and how unpredictable it could be. Just what was the thing you struggled most with tonight?
I think just staying focused. I mean, we have our little delta up in the corner where we can see if we're faster or slower through a corner. And I think just trying not to get discouraged if you go a little bit slower through a corner because you do have a long track as you said, and you have a lot of time to make that up.
Yeah, well, I mean, you certainly managed to in that race. I mean, you were by far one of the quickest all day. There were certain sections where everybody was battling, and it was hard to tell what kind of speed certain drivers had. But you were involved in a pretty amazing battle at the beginning of the race, and a few later. Was there anybody that you noticed particularly during the race that was either battling really well with you, or you had a good dynamic with, or maybe kind of walk us through the battle? And I think on lap 4 or 5 from earlier in the race.
Well, I mean, a lot of the battle was just, paying attention to what everybody was doing ahead of you, making sure that you're running clean, and then again, giving everybody some space. If there's one person I do want to shout out in terms of that, it would definitely be Jordan West. We were working together quite a bit, I guess, past lap 5 and onwards, just because we wanted to start building that gap, and we were getting a lot of good teamwork in, and I think that really helped. And he was doing a great job, and it's just unfortunate what ended up happening.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't get the end of this race that I'm sure he would have wanted to. He didn't quite make the top 3, but he had the speed to do so. Quickly before we go on, actually, I do just want to ask, kind of going forward in the season, tonight being round 6, we only have 4 races left to go in the year. So we go to Phoenix in the IndyCar next week, and then I think we go to the Daytona Road Course the week after that. So how are you feeling, at least for Phoenix next week, and kind of our throwback night in the older IndyCar?
Well, I mean, I'm just excited. I love trying new cars, new tracks. I mean, I'm not a Phoenix is an oval, correct?
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so I'm not the most talented when it comes to ovals, but I always like trying my best and seeing where that kind of takes me.
Well, I think you'll like it because it's kind of an untraditional oval shape, and it's not a perfect oval. There's like a lot of spots to cut corners, and it's really bizarre. But I think you'll like it, and guys should be able to walk you through it. So, I mean, hopefully you'll go have a good rest of the season. I mean, you've been really solid and really quick thus far all year. It's just tonight was the first time it all kind of came together. And well, congrats on your second place. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to or thank for your second place position tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I have a few people who tuned in to watch, so I just want to give a quick shout out. First of all, to my dad, Peter Lewick. just for all the support that he's given me through my whole racing career, and just always having him there. It's a really good support system to have at the track. And then on top of that, I want to also thank my mom and brother for tuning in, and maybe my sister. I don't know if she watched a few laps, but quick shout out to them. Then my girlfriend Hillary and the entire Flockstra family over there who's watching. I definitely really appreciate the support and seeing that they're tuning in, and then also some of my best friends Matthew and Cooper, who also I know tuned in.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody in name for watching. I mean, I'm always glad to see people coming out to support people in the race. So, well, you gave them a good performance tonight. Great showing. Best finish of the season at one of the most difficult tracks we'll go to all year. So, well, congrats, Justin. Have a great rest of your night, and I look forward to seeing you at Phoenix next week.
Thank you very much, Marshall. Have a good night.
And finally, we come to our winner interview. I feel like I've talked to this guy quite a few times this year, but well, if he's going to continue to be quick, I'm going to continue to do interviews with him. So, well, first of all, Logan, congrats on your win tonight, and really just great performance overall. Hopefully, I have him in the chat. Sorry, can you hear me there, Logan?
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. Again, congratulations there. And first thing to ask, I asked it to a few others, but Spa definitely being one of the most, first of all, one of the longer, one of the more difficult, and just one of the more iconic tracks of all time. First of all, what was your experience like coming into this track? Do you have kind of a background running at Spa, or is this a new thing? And as well as that, like, what was the most difficult part of the race for you tonight?
I was looking forward to this race a lot because usually in my spare time I would do IMSA races at Spa in like BMW and I think Ferrari 458 Italia GTE cars. So I was definitely excited for this. Obviously, never raced in a skip barber, so I was interested to see how that played in. And it was a very difficult track, particularly for off tracks, because it's so easy to get them. So just being careful of that, because I know that a lot of people got the stop and go penalty for having too many off track points or just overall incident points. So it was it was a difficult race. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even remember to pick up on that in the broadcast, but I know people were mentioning it before the race, and that would have explained some kind of oddities in the final finishing standings. But overall, I mean, it was an impressive race today. Definitely the biggest gap we've seen from a leader to anybody all year. And well, I talked to you in the interview on Thursday, and you mentioned how like going forward as the championship leader with a very large gap, like what was your plan going forward? And you said, well, you were still going to fight for positions, but you're going to try to keep it safe. Really, today you kind of bursted away at the beginning by lap 3. I think you had like a 8-second lead, and from there you just didn't look back. And well, you ran quick all night. And was there anything that you felt like either the Skip Barber appeals to your strengths or the track itself does? I mean, you said you would experience, but what is there tonight that you think you just had a really good handle on?
The Skip Barber would be my guess, just because of the way you have to drive it suits the way that I think about racing. More as through a car, like even a kart, for example, you always try to carry as much speed as possible throughout the entire corner. With the Skip Barber, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it. It has something about the way that you have to drive it that suits me really, really well.
Well, you most certainly proved that today and at the Roval with your great comeback back there. So, well, overall, we will just wrap it up tonight by asking you, like, what's the look forward? I mean, we look to do Phoenix next week on Thursday, and then after that, I believe the Saturday is Daytona Road Course. So, how are you feeling for the Phoenix race, the throwback to area DW12 car? And well, it should be something a little different. So, how are you feeling for that?
Well, obviously, I'll take any IndyCar race any time of the day. I love doing that kind of thing. Short oval, I'm interested to see how people are going to react to that. Obviously, it's going to be more chaotic off the start. Not much room for people to go, and I'm interested to see how that race goes down. I'm definitely excited for it. I'm excited for every single race in this series. Um, yeah, and the Indy car, love that car. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in that race.
Absolutely, and you kind of alluded to it there, but with people kind of being a little bit less experienced with the car, at least the DW12 that not a lot of people run a lot, and well, it's our shortest oval of the year by far. So, yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a lot of chaos early, and it'll kind of be all about avoiding that. And if you want any chance to be there at the end of the race, looking for a win. But, well, to close out tonight, is there anybody you want to thank or give a shout out to for your performance?
I'd like to thank all my family watching tonight from Ontario, Quebec, and Australia. Prime Power Team, Trevor Wickens, Canadian Motor Speedway, and just you, Marshall, for making this all possible, giving us something to allow us to make us sane over this time. And it's honestly been a lot of fun. I'm very grateful for it.
Well, I'm super glad to hear that. Anytime I kind of get a shout out from anybody about that, I feel really happy about it because it's nice that I'm having as much fun as you guys are and everybody's kind of enjoying what we're doing. So hopefully, week by week, the chances we can actually go karting would get closer and closer, we can hope. So, well, I mean, congratulations tonight. Thank you for the nice words, and we'll have a good rest of your night. And I would imagine I will be talking to you, well, probably next week. So, well, good to talk to you, Logan, and have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, you too, Marshall.
Okay, and with that said, we are finished our final interview of the night. Let me just pull down all the information there. There we are. So, we will throw up our final race results one more time. This broadcast did run a little bit long. It was, I think, our longest race this season in terms of pure time, or at least that it was supposed to be. No cautions, unfortunately, or well, I guess kind of fortunately, but yeah, this is probably the longest race we've had all season. So definitely an endurance challenge for the drivers. And as you can see on the timing sheet, that would make sense because Logan Paxa, your race winner, winning by 56 seconds over Justin Lewick. No fault of his own. Just Paxa seemed too quick tonight and never really got involved in any incidents to his credit. So he is your race winner tonight. Justin Lewick and Marco Felice both getting their first podiums of the year. Sorry to Marco Felice and anybody there that we couldn't get the interview working. I think I know in the future what was going down there, but after that, Brian Ellis and Jordan West rounding at the top 5, Devin Crosby, Michael Krobach, and Marshall Crocker Sr. in the top 8. After that, Josh Gallagher and Frankie Esposito finishing out the top 10. Logan Ferguson, Jean Guerra, and Rich Foligno will round out your field. Tonight, I had an amazing time. I got to say, this was definitely the most tiring. I have not been this parched for water since the All-Star Race broadcast that any of you that saw that will remember. Man, that was just an experience for sure. It's so much to call there, and well, so many exciting battles. This is by far my favorite race of the season, probably the crown jewel of the year so far for me. And man, this is just—it was so much fun. I alluded to it earlier. This is going to be impossible to try to edit into a highlights video for the next recap. But man, it was an amazing time. Thank you everybody for joining in and going along in this ride with me. And hopefully the new video quality, I know there was some dropouts, that it was a little fuzzier than usual. I think I can fix all that. So I got an entire week to get all that set up, but hopefully the video quality paid off nicely. And well, looking forward, I'm trying to make this bigger and better. I had a few new graphics tonight. I actually managed to get all my pre-race stuff in. So, well, as always, I'm looking forward to making the series bigger and better and just more enjoyable for all the fans out there as I can. And to hear guys giving shout outs to people in the YouTube chat watching them, that's nice to see. So, well, thank you everybody once again for watching. We look forward again. I mentioned it in the interviews, but to next week at Phoenix. It's our throwback night on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Actually, the broadcast will start at 7:25 once again. I'm going to start doing them a little bit earlier, so I have time to get all my pre-race stuff in. But yeah, so Phoenix in the oval, in the short, about a mile oval, I think. Maybe even shorter than that. It's not a very big track, but and the throwback to Lara cars, which is why hopefully we'll get some old-timey IndyCar paint schemes, which should be fun to see as a racing fan. So, yeah, so props to all the drivers tonight. It was an incredible race. I think because of how exciting it was, maybe I won't put it in the official playlist. Not this race. I mean, I'm going to do a kind of a highlights video for this race alone, or maybe I'll just post segments of the battle. Even if I can't post them on YouTube, I might just post them on Facebook or something. So, well, next race I'll tell you where to find that. And I am going to start a Facebook for the series just so I can give out information to all the people watching. I know that the broadcast tonight started later than it was originally scheduled to because I had said it was changed, and then unfortunately that kind of unraveled. So I will make a Facebook page in the week off, and then I will let all of you know the information around that and start posting stuff there. So if you want to keep up with the series, know when to watch, well, you'll have all that there for you. And well, as we look forward to next week, which I certainly am, Yeah, it'll be kind of a change from the road courses we've been doing lately, and we're going to head back to a traditional oval. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully all of you are too. So thank you, everybody, for watching round 6 of the Karts to Computers iRacing series. Have a good rest of your night and a good rest of your weekend. We got all of tomorrow with the day off, so enjoy your night. Enjoy tomorrow night. Savor not having to work, well, I guess, from home this week. But yeah, overall, just thank you, everybody, for watching, as it says in the graphic. And, well, have a good rest of your night, everybody.